Cole will speak to John Southall at an England Footballers Foundation event promoting Cancer Research UK. Steve Claridge seems to have responded very well, Cole, to the threat of obviously Robbie Keane coming in. I know he can't play today, of obviously Demba Ba, Obinna. He seems to have really responded to that, Carlton, Cole.
Yes, I mean, there's no doubt he's had his injury problems this year. He's been in and out the side. There have been one or two question marks raised against his form, but of note and of recently, he's stepped up to the plate. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of competition. I think, to be fair, when you look at West Ham's squad, it's very, very difficult to understand quite how they are where they are. The simple equation is that they haven't been defensively good enough. There's no doubt the players up front and the people going forward have got more than enough to stay in this division, but whether or not they can defend properly is another matter.
I think it's interesting, Mark, when you look at Carlton Cole's progress this season. His return to form has almost coincided with this good run that West Ham are on. He's scored 10 of his 11 goals since the 1st of December. He's got 6 in his last 8 and 4 in 4. He's absolutely banging form. The thing that West Ham was struggling to do early in the season was put games away. Teams were always in matches against West Ham. And I think the fact that now Carlton Cole has kicked into gear, it's given that extra dimension to a West Ham team that was a bit soft in the early weeks of the season.
Well, Darren, I'm at West Brom, and I think in some ways, if they do stay up, they'll regard the game that I saw here, about a month ago, as a bit of a turning point. They were 3 down and utterly shambolic against West Brom. Then Scott Parker gave his Churchillian speech, didn't he, in the changing room, which Carlton Cole talked about afterwards. And they got back into it. Carlton Cole got a goal, got a bang on the lip. You remember he had a big fat lip on Match of the Day, but he put his head where it mattered and got them back in the game. Could be a turning point, that match.
It could, and I think significantly as well, Mark, when you look at the teams in the bottom 6 or 7 in the Premier League, nobody else has been able to strengthen in the manner that West Ham have. You know, Steve talked about the strength of the squad. When you think in January, they brought in Gary O'Neill, Demba Ba, Robbie Keane and Wayne Bridge. I mean, they're 4 excellent players with a lot of experience and a lot of intangibles at this stage of the season to make that squad significantly better. And I think the fact that Avram Grant was able to go into the transfer market in January and bring in that calibre of player has given them now that solidity to the squad to enable them to kick on a bit.
Darren, when you were talking about stepping up to the plate, after reading you on Twitter this morning, I assumed you were talking about your co-commentator Ian Dennis, who apparently has put away 2, not 1, but 2 full English breakfasts this morning.
I can confirm that the senior football reporter has had a double dose of 2 full Englishes today. He's looking a little bit ruddy in the cheeks. He's got that little satisfied look on his face, a semi-smirk. Steve Claridge, who's ever the nutritionist, Mark, he's absolutely horrified.
He's got his bag of fruit, I hope, Mr. Claridge, as always. And Ian Dennis is ready, after he's commentated, to run back to Yarm to get rid of it all. Good afternoon, Dano.
Good afternoon, Mark. All I will just say, you require fuel and plenty of it for what should be a significant day in the Premier League.
Let me just say, you won't be queuing any pumps for quite a while. I know that with the fuel you've got inside you.
Sometimes, you know, it's important not to talk about things. You know, we're going to talk about things on the pitch. We don't need to talk about what happens elsewhere as the 2 teams take to the field. But it is a big day in the Premier League today, and obviously our 3 o'clock commentary will focus on the top of the table of the title race, Manchester United against Bolton. Mark, as we know, is at the Hawthorns, Arsenal against West Bromwich Albion. But you look at the fixtures as well, Aston Villa against Wolves, Blackburn against Blackpool and Wigan against Birmingham. And then you have this match, which of course is key for the top 4, for where Spurs are in pursuit of Chelsea. They're 3 points behind. And then West Ham in that congested bottom half of the Premier League table as well, as Spurs in their white shirts and navy shorts from our very lofty position opposite the main stand just shake their hands with their West Ham counterparts in their traditional colours, the claret and sky blue tops, for this big game. We're anticipating there will be a minute's silence as well because of the natural disaster in Japan, so I'll run through the 2 teams now. Spurs, since they were last in action against Milan, have made 2 changes. Defoe back in for Crouch and Bale for Pienaar. So they have Gomez in goal, Chorluka, Dawson, Gallas and Asuakoto across the back. Lennon, Modric, Sandro and Bale, with Van der Vaart behind Jermaine Defoe. West Ham have made 3 changes from the side that was beaten against Stoke in the FA Cup last weekend. Jakobsen returns for Tompkins, Piquion is out with a foot injury, so O'Neill returns, he was cup tied, and Bart for Obinna. So Robert Green is in goal, a back 4 of Jakobsen, Da Costa, Upson and Bridge, O'Neill, Noble, Parker and Hitzelsberger, Barr and Carlton Cole for West Ham. And this West Ham side, you look at them and they're starting to score goals, aren't they, in recent games?
Well, that's all. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, with the additions that he's made, he's really reinforced an area that was strong anyway. You know, and there are, there's 3 or 4 players in there that most Premiership clubs would love to have going forward in a positive sense. So there's absolutely no reason why, West Ham with the squad and the strength and depth, particularly going forward, they've got should be where they are. And let's be honest, the form they've shown in recent weeks is only the form that we've been waiting to see all season, in all honesty.
Well, Mike Dean, the referee, blows his whistle, which is the sign for the 2 sets of players. West Ham away to our left in their claret and blue shirts, and Tottenham in the white. The captains will meet, and whilst that is taking place, the other West Ham players are just starting to gather outside the centre circle for the minute's silence, because of course the Premier League has global appeal. And just like UEFA did during the week for the Champions League matches and the Europa League matches, the Premier League now will pay its respects for those that have lost their lives in the natural disaster in Japan, and those, of course, that are still suffering with the devastation caused by the earthquake and the tsunami last week, as we will have a minute's silence here in North London very, very soon. And it's important sometimes just to reflect, isn't it? Here we are, we're a world away. Beautiful day in North London, the sky is clear blue, sun is shining, beautiful day. We're looking forward to an entertaining game, we hope, and it's just important sometimes to try and take a reflection for what is actually happening in that part of the world.
No, absolutely. I mean, it does bring you back to realisation and understanding what people are going through very, very quickly when you see the pictures that we see and images. So this is the least you can do, just pay your respects.
And these pictures will be going across the world, and of course to the Far East, where we now have a minute's silence. Immaculately observed, and that will be replicated throughout Premier League grounds this afternoon. The Spurs players now form a huddle away to our right in their white shirts. This is 5 Live Sport, the Barclays Premier League, Tottenham against West Ham United. And it'll be Tottenham to start this game, with Jermaine Defoe and Van der Vaart just in the centre circle. Spurs will therefore be playing from right to left as we look. We're opposite the main stand here at White Hart Lane. Referee Mike Dean in what can only be described as a garish referee's top. Was it luminous orange? Just checks his watch. And an important game for both the pursuit of 4th place for Spurs, but retaining their Premier League status for West Ham. We are underway with Gallas at the back, then to Dawson, and Asu Akoto with his braided hair forward towards Van der Vaart, quickly closed down by a combination of Parker and Noble, and out for a Spurs throw. The early thoughts from Steve Claridge.
I think we've just seen an example there of what West Ham are going to try and do when Van der Vaart gets it. Just squeeze that space. Noble and both Parker are going to sit deep. They can allow the boys in front of them to go and press and squeeze the Tottenham back 4, but they're certainly not going to allow Van der Vaart to come in between their midfield and their defence and start picking the ball up and exploit any sort of space.
We are in a very lofty commentary position, so much so that we're almost teetering on the gantry right at the top of the stand opposite the main stand. And bearing in mind with the 2 full English, I'm not going to lean too far forward just in case the weight tipples over and end up going over the top. Not one if you suffer from vertigo, I tell you. As Dawson slides forward on his knees, as Gary O'Neill had come forward on the right hand side, and it'll be Jakobsen to Noble from the throw, quickly taken by West Ham. Parker, full ball along the ground towards Noble, sliding in with Van der Vaart. Noble keeps his balance and he's still going. Mark Noble then plays the ball looking towards Hitzelsberger. Sandro though broke up the move, and Sandro now to Modric, who's away from Parker. Modric still coming in the West Ham half outside the centre circle, but Parker was tenacious, snapping at his heels, and Modric just couldn't shake him off, and as a result West Ham are now back in possession, and it's a lively start here.
Parker's pulled him back 3 times in that move. That's why Modric is complaining. He's just stopped him, and in the end stopped him enough to get a tackle in. It's a foul. How he can't see that, the referee, I'll never know.
Kilmarnock 2, Motherwell 1 at Rugby Park in the SPL. Getting underway in a short while, in about 10 minutes time, Sheffield United against Leeds, the Yorkshire derby at Bramall Lane. Here is Modric to Van der Vaart. Bale making his first start in 2 months, up against Jakobsen. Jakobsen loses out on the shoulder barge. Bale now in the penalty area. Parker has to come across and to force the ball out of play for a throw.
I think he'll be doing an awful lot of covering, Scott Parker, shoring up that midfield with Van der Vaart, and certainly covering Jakobsen, if that example of pace from Bale was anything to go by.
This is Bale once again. He's been sorely missed down the left hand side. Free kick given in favour of Tottenham. Bale was pulled back by Gary O'Neill. It was he and Parker who doubled up on Bale, and it's almost that cry what you could probably hear in a week's time at the Millennium Stadium, that cry of Wales, Wales, but instead it's Bale, Bale here at White Hart Lane for the Welsh international, who of course will be a thorn in England's side I'm sure next week. Free kick taken into the penalty area, headed away and then collected by O'Neill, and he toe-ends it away with his right foot, collected by Gallas on the inner sunshine over on that far side. Gallas then with a diagonal ball. Van der Vaart waits, brings it down neatly off his chest. Modric has made a good diagonal run from in to out, just outside the penalty area, by the byline, rolls it back to Dawson. Dawson goes for a curling effort, hits the crossbar. What an effort that would have been from Michael Dawson. He had Van der Vaart away to his right, but he struck it right-footed, it was curling. The goalkeeper was beaten, and the crossbar saves West Ham United.
Really ominous signs already for West Ham with regard to who's picking up who in the midfield. I mean, Modric's run is completely unguarded. He runs in behind the back four. He's played in by Van der Vaart. Then he comes back out, passes it to Dawson. Dawson is also completely, just left, take a touch and just open himself up 18 yards up. Absolutely no pressure on the ball whatsoever. And at this stage, West Ham in slightly sixes and sevens as to who's picking who up. I don't quite think they know their jobs properly just yet, because their runners from midfield are getting too much space.
Here is Modric again, and Sandro is also joining the attack.
Yeah.
Lennon was crying out for the ball at his feet, but Sandro's pass was 10 yards ahead of him at the very least, and it was straight to Bridge, who will clear for West Ham, who will want a little bit of early respite here at White Hart Lane, because very quickly out of the traps of Tottenham. They've started with a good positive tempo. They're finding space in midfield, as Steve Claridge has said, and already Dawson has hit the crossbar with a curling effort. And bearing in mind, Dawson, who's on the ball now, has only scored 8 goals for Spurs. Had that gone in, I think it's fair to say it would have been the best in his Tottenham career, if not his entire footballing career. It was a fine strike. This is Modric to Sandro, the Brazilian who really is starting to settle in well now at White Hart Lane. To Gallas, just outside the centre circle. Was it out ahead of the game? His pass though has gone astray, and this is Noble to O'Neill. O'Neill looks up. Carlton Cole has made the run, but the ball will zip off the lush green surface and through towards Gomez wearing his baseball cap. It's an underarm throw out that goes around the back of Gallas, and Dawson then will find Sandro. But Sandro, after adjusting to life in England, is just starting to grow and looks to be a real find.
Looks a little bit like Ramirez, isn't he? Where people wrote him off very, very quickly, wondered exactly what his game was, but now all of a sudden he's the type of player that does all the nasty work, clears up all the rubbish, breaks up opposition attacks. And we look at the space here that we've got here, and clearly they're not actually aware of what jobs they need to do, West Ham. Tottenham are running absolute riot here.
Ominous for West Ham as Lennon tries to cut in on that right hand side, held up by Bridge. The ball runs loose and Parker puts it out of play for a throw. They're looking a little bit bedraggled already in these early stages. 5.5 minutes played. West Ham, Spurs 0, West Ham 0.
Shape and the organisation is completely out the window with West Ham. They're not set up, they're not organised properly to handle this game and cope with Tottenham in this way, because people do not know their jobs. They don't know who to latch on to. There's 2 players around Modric, but neither one has gone to him. As I say, they're getting caught the wrong side at this stage. They're all over the place.
Bale with a cross, Defoe with a flick, runs wide. It was a low ball in from the left-hand side, and Defoe coming across to meet it with an outstretched right foot, flicked it wide. It was probably about a foot wide of the right-hand post as we look. Another chance for Spurs, 0-0.
I think from a West Ham perspective, and believe you me, they are so lucky to still be in this game at this stage. They've got to just simplify the game and say, right, you take him, you take him, you take him, and we'll just match up for 5 minutes and stop them playing, because at this stage we've got players who are looking around, they don't know whether to go to the ball, stay with their man. There's so much time and space. West Ham are a shambles at this stage.
They're being stretched as well, aren't they, with Bale keeping the width on the left and Lennon on the right.
They don't know who to pick up. Nobody knows. It's got a designated man. Nobody knows exactly who to go to, when to release themselves, and in the end nobody's actually doing anything.
Here is Cole. Great atmosphere inside White Hart Lane this afternoon as Demba Ba comes back to help out. Bridge on that left hand side goes towards Upson, and this is Noble now collecting the ball just outside the centre circle, faced by Van der Vaart as Noble runs forward over the halfway line. Bar's back heel looking for O'Neill is instead picked out by Gareth Bale. Van der Vaart has a touch. Asu Okoto, first time ball to Gareth Bale, takes it in his stride, then has to retreat just over the halfway line, finds Van der Vaart. Modric is in close proximity. Here is the little Croatian. Great ball on the outside of his right foot across towards Chorluka, his fellow countryman, but his movement as well as he glides across the surface to collect that ball, lays it off towards Lennon. Good football by Tottenham. Lennon attacking on the right hand side. Lennon's cross, Defoe was there, cut out, almost broke towards Van der Vaart. O'Neill did a good job. Sandro's shot takes a deflection and will spin behind, will it, for a corner. Bale wanted to go behind for a corner, and indeed it does, and West Ham remain firmly on the back foot.
I mean, at this stage it's very, very difficult to see what they're going to do. When they have the ball, there's no options on the ball. When they haven't got it, they don't know who to pick up, they don't know where to go, they don't know what position to take to stop Tottenham playing. Tottenham are running through them like a knife through butter.
There's a stoppage at the moment because Da Costa, did he pick up a knock with the strike from Sandro? He's back on his feet now, play can resume. Outswinging corner, could fall to Lennon. Lennon with a volley! Wide, goal kick.
Strange as well there, because Upson is actually, when the ball's played into the middle, Upson is the one that's released himself and gone to Lennon. So I'm not quite sure who's picking up who there, but as I say, they've got to get a foothold and a toehold in this game, and just to actually be difficult to break down and be difficult to play against, because Tottenham are literally, as soon as they make a run, nobody is actually picking them up, no one's going with the runners, and they're just playing at will almost in this game so far.
So Robert Green to take the goal kick. The voice of Steve Claridge on 5 Live Sport from 3 o'clock will be at Old Trafford. Manchester United against Bolton, as the header from Chorluka is back towards Gomez. It was Barr who was looking to put him under pressure. Gomez with the sun in his eyes needed that baseball cap there as he drops the ball quickly. Carlton Cole was alive. He looked to try and charge him down as the clearance goes forward. Da Costa has made a mistake. He can't go back to Green under pressure from Defoe. Eventually he will go back to England's goalkeeper now, who clears away right-footed. Sandro heads it forward. That'll be picked up though by Scott Parker. And Parker exchanging passes there with Noble. Hitzelsperger digs it out from underneath his feet. Parker again has to turn
anywhere. Not going
and
anywhere.
Go back. Spurs are pressing, forcing them back. Da Costa now under pressure from Bale, plays it down the line. Asu Okoto's in front of O'Neill. Out of play it goes for a West Ham throw. They can't get in the game.
There's no width. They're so lopsided. I mean, Demba Ba's coming in. Cole's playing supposedly up on his own. Gary O'Neill's going inside. There's absolutely no width. The three in midfield are playing. You could throw a blanket over the three in midfield. So they're not playing. They're not giving anyone any options. There's no space out there so far. As I said, when West Ham get it, it's not an option on. And when Tottenham get it, there's 5 or 6 options on.
Now Mike Dean is telling Gareth Bale he's got to leave the field of play.
There's no blood or anything like that, is there?
Gareth Bale is protesting and with his arms open and just saying, why, and his hands open, why do I need to leave the field? Mike Dean is now explaining the situation to Defoe and Aaron Lennon. I'm not too sure why.
What is it? There's no blood on him, is there, or anything like that? I know it's something on his shirt.
It's his shorts. He's having to change his shorts over on the far side. He's quickly slipped them off. A few Rolf whistles. White undershorts.
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to be wearing them anymore, are you?
He's not going to take them off, is he? On the touchline?
Well, no. I would imagine he's got something on underneath. Like.
He is, you know. Off they come as well. There's the old jockeys underneath. Giving a few people a thrill over on that far side. in more ways than
I'm
one.
just thankful it's not you, that's what I'm saying.
This is Hitzelsberger. Temporarily they're down to 10 men of Spurs. Can they take advantage, West Ham? They've been very much second best for these opening 11 minutes. Still no goals here on 5 Live Sport.
Normally the linesmen would check that, wouldn't they? Do your studs and that sort of thing. Now it's been outlawed.
You'd have thought so. Headed away by Chorluka. Picked up by O'Neill. Exchanging passes. The shot comes in from Carlton Cole. First shot in anger, and it was comfortably dealt with by Gomez.
Mind you, his shorts are really long if you have a look. So they might not have stood up. I'm not sure you would have seen them at.
And now Gareth Bale, after a quick change. This is pathetic. Let him on the field of play. Eventually he comes back on. That's where referees don't do themselves any favours whatsoever.
Absolutely.
And Joe Jordan now is having a word with the fourth official. Play is able to resume. Still, Joe Jordan is complaining to the fourth official on that far side.
There's no common sense, is there? Let's be honest, in those circumstances. It's ridiculous.
Parker looking to turn away from Sandro. Standing on the ball was Carlton Cole. Carlton Cole falls over, and it's back with Gallas to Dawson. Dawson to Modric. And Modric will come forward, and he runs forward now with plenty of purpose over the halfway line. Sun shining here in North London. Jakobsen, though, the right back was tucked in, takes it off the toes of Van der Vaart, sees it back towards Green, and Green will clear downfield. Good defending by Dawson, gets himself in front of Demba Ba, headed forward then by Sandro, picked up by Modric, looked to ride the challenge by Scott Parker. Referee says there was no foul as Scott Parker plays the ball out towards that far side. In the shadows of the main stand, it's with Bridge, 10 yards over the halfway line. Hitzelsberger then collects it. Hitzelsberger's forward ball. Carlton Cole with an outstretched right foot. As a striker, I was watching that thinking, why didn't he use his head?
No, I don't think he can. I think as he's running, it's just too far in front of him. All he's done is just tried to lob the ball over Gomez as he's cut. There's not enough, really. There's not enough room for that. But it's
You'd have done the same, would you?
Yeah, I can see what he means. I don't think he can get his head to it, because as he's running, you're sort of asking him to jump and lead forward as he's running.
Well, in the end, he dangled out a right foot, but he didn't have the touch for the delicate lob that it required to beat Gomez, and it was out for a goal kick. So it remains Tottenham 0, West Ham 0. Dawson hit the crossbar for Spurs as early as the 3rd minute, and Spurs very much on top, controlling things in midfield. And here is Van der Vaart away from Parker, and he had his standing leg taken from beneath him, did the Dutchman, and it will be a Spurs free kick that both Modric and Van der Vaart want to take.
Modric has been incredible so far. Absolute. He's a little powerhouse on the ball. I mean, he's so strong. It's incredible. You don't realise till you see him in the flesh just how strong he is on the ball. His pace and his movement have been far too much for West Ham so far.
Van der Vaart it was who will place the ball down midway through the West Ham half. Van der Vaart curls it in left-footed. Dawson is up from the back, headed away by Upson, and then volleyed clear by Hitzelsberger high, and eventually bouncing out of play for a throw to Tottenham.
They look so bothered about helping each other out, West Ham, and covering and doing jobs for their teammates. And nobody's actually stepping up to the plate and doing their own job, and this is why they're almost caught in between two stools a lot of the time.
So ultimately, as the ball is played out towards Bale, takes it high on the chest, drops it down, then looks to come in on this left touch line as Da Costa breaks up that move. Do ultimately West Ham have to match up with Spurs?
Yeah, generally.
They're outnumbered in midfield.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Although they're playing a tight 3, it doesn't look like it, because every time they haven't got the ball, people are running beyond them. That tight 3 is flat almost. They're not sure where they should be when they've got the ball. They're not sure where they should be when they haven't. As I say, if you match up, you just go, right, just go with your man and stay with your man for 5-10 minutes, and let's get a grip on this game, and then we can see a clearer picture of where we can go with this.
So that would require one of the front two to drop back into midfield.
Well, you've got you leave Carlton Cole up front, and all you do is drop Scotty Parker in and go 4-for-4 in midfield.
Here is Lennon on the right hand side, Chorluka on the overlap in front of the main stand. Spurs playing from right to left, 0-0. Ball inside towards Aaron Lennon, diverted behind by Demba Ba for a corner to Spurs, which Van der Vaart will jog across towards that far side in front of the travelling support who have penned in that corner, the West Ham fans. Little chip towards Modric, picked out well, spins away from his man. Modric, it was a fine effort, left-footed, but it was wide. Goal kick.
But his effort should never have come about. He's chipped the ball into Modric in the penalty area. He's got the ball. He's turned on his left foot. Gary Neal is still going to close him down. This is the penalty area from a corner, and he's shot wide. You wouldn't. I mean, that's schoolboy stuff. You just take your man, you pick him up. He's chipped a ball from a corner into someone into the area.
It's alarming how he was able to find the space.
How easy, yes.
And then when he collected the ball, how he was able to spin away to get the shot. Absolutely.
I mean, it's incredible.
16 and a half minutes played. Don't forget we've got the rugby after all the football. Ireland against England from 5. Commentary here on 5 Live. England bidding for the Grand Slam as Asu Okoto plays the ball forward to Modric. Modric is everywhere.
It's been incredible, absolutely incredible. What a great player he is. I mean, you give him the ball and he'll make a game tick like this. He looks just fantastic.
Asu Okoto from the throw for Spurs to Bale. Bale's flick inside, intercepted by Gary O'Neill, and then Jakobsen has sliced his clearance out of play, puts up his left hand to apologise. It's almost as if that FA Cup defeat against Stoke has punctured the confidence of West Ham when you consider that they've got the back-to-back victories in the Premier League against Liverpool and Stoke.
I mean, this is back to West Brom, isn't it?
Yeah.
First half at West Brom. This is, you know,
West Ham's only saving
very
grace is that it's still 0-0.
Exactly.
This is Asu Okoto. Picks out Van der Vaart. Van der Vaart's in space to Chorluka. Aaron Lennon holding the width on the right hand side. Here is Aaron Lennon cutting in now, right corner of the penalty area. Then the ball just goes astray as Gareth Bale had wandered over into that far side to join the attack. Ups and clears, picked out though by Gallas, and Spurs again will build from the back, and it's Van der Vaart dropping, and he's got acres of space as West Ham just drop off him. Rolls the ball out towards Asu Okoto on the left hand side. Bale is now making a forward run, headed away by Jakobsen, picked up by Modric. Modric inside to Jermaine Defoe, and the referee has set a corner kick to Spurs.
There's 3 players in the vicinity of where that ball's dropped and 1 Tottenham player, and the Tottenham player picks it up in time and just starts to play again. 3 players who could have gone and closed that down, who didn't, because they're not positioning in the right place.
Corner pulled out to Van der Vaart, strikes it first time left-footed. It was low, wasn't too far away. It'll be a goal kick, another chance. But again, it was the quick thinking of Modric and Van der Vaart for Tottenham.
And the slow thinking of West Ham not to shut the ball down on the edge of the box. I mean, fair enough, you've got to give Tottenham credit because, as you say, they're making the most of what West Ham are giving them. But let's be honest, if this is a normal Premiership game, they would never ever get examples of what we're seeing here happen in a normal game, because normal Premiership sides would just do their job, and that is to close people down.
Modric and Van der Vaart are having the run of White Hart Lane. Here is Demba Ba for West Ham. Demba Ba to Carlton Cole. Carlton Cole is in. Shoots straight at Gomez. What a chance that was.
Wow.
Totally against the run of play.
Well, that's Tottenham's slight Achilles heel, isn't it, for me, is defensively. Against top-class opposition, that's a great opportunity. He's gone through, he's 1 against 1, centre of the goals, 1 against 1 with Gomez, and he hits it straight at him with his left foot. He could have gone round him, could have clipped it over him, or he could have smacked it. In the end, he does nothing, and he clips it straight into Gomez's midriff.
He knew, judging by his reaction as well, what a chance that was for a striker very much in form.
Yeah, look, you take them all day long. You wait, you wait, and you expect to make the most of that sort of opportunity. That's a gilt-edged chance.
Here is Aaron Lennon, back towards Gallas, who just had to accelerate a fraction with Hitzelsberger chasing him down. Work the ball up towards the halfway line. Bale to Van der Vaart, inside to Modric. Then Van der Vaart pings the ball across towards the right-hand side. It's Chorluka who's away from Carlton Cole, who had to try and check the run of the right back. Inside to Modric. Modric then spreads play out towards the left. Asu Okoto's getting in on the act. Asu Okoto's cross is heavy, it's deep. Headed away there by Bridge. The left back was tucked in the penalty area. Chorluka collects it, then Chorluka's pass is a poor one. Lennon was standing right next to him, and it was an advanced ball about 6 yards forward of him, out of play.
Yeah, doesn't do a lot for me, Chorluka, I've got to say. Gets the ball, lacks responsibility. Doesn't always, wants to get rid of it, give it to people in tighter positions than himself. So, not for me in that respect. I keep seeing time and time again the ball being switched, and West Ham players being caught the wrong side. Rather than being goal side, they're the other side. They're chasing Tottenham players back towards their own goal because they're not set up positionally correctly at the start.
Well, certainly the balance of play so far, with 21 minutes played here on 5 Live and no goals, is that Spurs are very much on top. They have hit the crossbar, they have had some chances, however...
West Ham had the best opportunity.
The best chance fell to Carlton Cole, and Robert Green hasn't really been extended.
No.
As Asuakoso back towards Gallas. Sandro's under pressure now, but he turns away from Noble, overruns the ball, slides in with Parker. Jakobsen then wins it back for West Ham, and now here is Da Costa.
I think that's an example of how you slide in without causing any problems by Sandro. Yeah. Foot entirely on the floor there.
Sandro then lifts it back towards Dawson, heading the ball forward. Parker climbs well to beat Van der Vaart in the air. Now to Demba Ba. Asuakoso barges into Demba Ba, and Ba will win a free kick for West Ham midway through the Spurs half. Glorious sunshine here in North London. Spurs 0, West Ham 0, and Hitzelsperger will use his left foot to curl this free kick in. Carlton Cole waits just inside the penalty area. Da Costa has joined Ba. Upson is also forward from defence. They're the 4 players in the penalty area making the run as Hitzelsperger curls his free kick in now. It's a good ball in as well. Referee spotted an infringement. A little bit of pushing in the penalty area. Free kick to Tottenham. We're midway through the first half, and after the thoughts of Steve Claridge, Darren Fletcher will take you through to half-time. 0-0.
Well, I think that gives you an impression of what West Ham's ambitions are, certainly with the ball. I mean, they're 40, 50 yards out there and they sling the ball in the box sort of thing, so I think they know that in free play so far they really are up against it.
I think from our vantage position here, high up above the halfway line, we can see the holes in this West Ham team a little bit clearer than anybody else, and it's been so easy for Tottenham to get the ball down and create opportunities. I've counted at least 5 very good chances that Spurs have had in the opening 23 minutes of this match, and really you feel that Avram Grant's got to solve the riddle, otherwise you fear for what might happen if Tottenham get that first goal. Van der Vaart to Modric, about 10 yards short of the halfway line, and as always there's room for Modric to move into. This time it's played slightly in front of Van der Vaart, but straight away Tottenham regain possession and the right back Chorluka can come forward. Outside of him is Lennon, darts into the penalty area, crossed in towards Defoe. Defoe didn't quite get enough on it, and it dribbled through to Robert Green, and you can strike that up as another chance for Tottenham.
I'll tell you what, Da Costa does brilliant though, doesn't he, there, to go with Defoe and just to put him off slightly blocks his shot as well as Defoe slides in, but great defending there from Da Costa, but yet again, so easy.
Here comes Bridge on the charge though, over the halfway line, one of the January signings. That was sloppy out towards Demba Ba. I thought the ball had gone out. Play on, says the official, and then the high ball towards the penalty area.
Look at this.
Is easily cut out. Now, space for Rafael van der Vaart. That's always a problem. On this left-hand side, out towards Bale. Starting again for the first time in 2 months. Back towards van der Vaart. Flick to Bale, just outside the D. Now the ever-available Modric, out towards Chorluka. Lennon in acres of space. Terrible ball by Chorluka.
That's what I said about him. Lacks responsibility, doesn't want to get hold of the ball, doesn't want to do anything where he's going to take a chance on the ball.
If he rolls that 5-yard square, Aaron Lennon's in on goal. I'm not quite sure what the thought process was.
He can put the ball in the box himself, Daz. He's got it in plenty of time and space to put it in. But he lacks responsibility. Like I say, he wants to give it away, get it away from him, because he doesn't want the ball.
Big game for both at both ends of the Barclays Premier League table, this one. A win for Tottenham, they're back level on points with Chelsea as they chase a Champions League qualifying place for next season. A win for West Ham, and they go 13th in the table, 3 points above the bottom 3, and that would be really significant for them with this decent run of recent form since the turn of the year. Manchester United, Chelsea and Manchester City on the agenda for West Ham though in their next 5 matches. It's going to be a long old slog for them.
Yeah, they've got a tough run in, no doubt about that.
Sandro on the run down the left, cut out by Da Costa, who rolls it up the line towards Jakobsen, preferred to Tompkins today. Now here's Noble, midway inside his own half. West Ham really struggling to string the passes together, and they've now gone into Tottenham territory, and Sandro has fouled Mark Noble on this right hand side, and it's going to be a free kick 15 yards inside the Tottenham half, about a yard in from the touchline. Big day of course for Harry Redknapp, always is when he faces West Ham. 7 years as a player, 7 years as a manager, and of course Avram Grant in the opposite dugout was with him during his time at Portsmouth. 0-0, Jermaine Defoe to Modric. Not really seen Modric have this kind of space in any game this season. Out towards Chorluka, edge of the penalty area, down the line to Lennon at the byline. Little Cruyff turn to buy some time. Rolled back then to Van der Vaart. Now to Modric, just inside the penalty area. Modric allowed to turn. Across goes Bridge for West Ham. Modric to Lennon, flicked in towards Chorluka, read by Parker, and he can move the ball away to safety. The ball didn't go out of play, despite the appeals of the Tottenham fans. Now it has, and it's going to be a corner.
I actually thought it went out of play a lot earlier than that from where we were. You understand why they were complaining, the Tottenham fans, but it is at this stage, it's a little bit too easy so far.
Amazingly though, it's 0-0.
It's incredible.
Corner for Spurs. Modric will leave this for Van der Vaart. The Dutchman's come across to take it from the right-hand side for Tottenham, and it's whipped in with his left foot, headed away by Upson, and then cleared as far as the halfway line, where it's controlled by Chorluka. Bright sunshine here in North London today. White Hart Lane packed. One or two in their shirt sleeves. It's a really pleasant Saturday lunchtime. Kilmarnock 3, Motherwell 1 is the latest score in the SPL. Here's Modric for Tottenham. Tried to exchange passes with Van der Vaart. That's intercepted by Hitzelsberger. And now Mark Noble's got the ball towards the halfway line. And he runs forward. Only really Carlton Cole ahead of him. Still got the ball, Noble. Forward now to Cole, who's had the best chance of the game so far. That one-on-one with Gomez. Cole again, midway inside the Tottenham half. Now back to Parker, inside the centre circle. Now towards Bridge on the left-hand side. Enjoying first-team football again. Now the move breaks down there because Demba Ba, who's been sloppy throughout, has given the possession away. Defoe for Tottenham. Nice footwork to evade the challenge of O'Neill. And then he's dragged down from behind by Mark Noble. And it's a free kick 30 yards from goal for Tottenham. Steve Claridge.
Demba Ba is playing. I can remember when I played one game, right, out of 1,000 at right wing.
Right.
And I was forward when I should have been back.
Okay.
I was back when I should have been forward.
Right.
I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
The football version of the Okie Kokie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Demba Ba now and I'm just seeing him playing sort of the old-fashioned inside left almost. He hasn't got a clue what he's doing out there.
No. He's making Chorluka look like one of the better attacking fullbacks in the Premier League, isn't he? Free kick then for Tottenham, and Van der Vaart, who can certainly be a problem from this kind of range for Robert Green, has placed the ball down. There's a 4-man West Ham wall that's just trying to move forward. Mike Dean's looking straight at them but doing nothing about it. Van der Vaart will just roll the free kick to Chorluka into the penalty area towards Lennon. That's Paul.
What I mean about it.
Yeah, intercepted by Bridge, and West Ham can clear.
Yeah. It's not hindsight. I mean, I've watched him on numerous occasions, and there's Chorluka in a nutshell, what we've seen so far today.
If you are looking for a problem for Tottenham at home this season, it's been a lack of goals for them. They've only managed to score 19 goals in 13 games at home in the Premier League, and when you think they can be such a free-scoring side, you'd expect them to have more than that, as Barr tries his luck from about 25 yards, and that's well wide of the left-hand post. So 0-0 here, 29 minutes gone on 5 Live. Let's get an update in the Yorkshire derby. Sheffield United against Leeds. Peter Slater.
Lovely day here too. We played quarter of an hour. It's 0-0 between Sheffield United and Leeds. Doesn't look like a game between sides at the opposite ends of the table. In fact, Kasper Schmeichel in the Leeds goal has been the busier keeper with saves from Quinn and Lowry. Quarter of an hour played. Sheffield United 0, Leeds United 0.
Thanks, Peter. Approaching the half an hour mark here in the sunshine at White Hart Lane. This London derby. 0-0. Tottenham dominating in terms of possession and chances. That one glorious opportunity for Carlton Cole, but it's still 0-0. Throw into Tottenham, level with the edge of the West Ham box. Modric tackled by Parker, and the ball's gone out of play again on the far side, and it's going to be another throw into Tottenham. This time it's played to Sandro, who was fantastic in the games against AC Milan, the young Brazilian, and in the absence of Tom Huddleston, he's got a role to play. And he's certainly grown into that role here as the season's gone on, the young Brazilian.
They've got 3 players almost, haven't they? They've got Huddleston who can sit, Palacios who can sit, and Sandro who can sit. So, you know, all of a sudden they've got that sort of backbone that we don't always associate with Tottenham, you know, in spades.
Challenge comes in by the man that Steve was just talking about, Sandro, on Mark Noble, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side. I just looked down on the subs bench, and I think one of the best names in the Premier League this season is the substitute goalkeeper for West Ham, one Rude Boffin.
Yes.
I like that.
I thought you might.
Here's Sandro for Spurs, 0-0.
Should we leave it there?
Yeah. I think the name paints enough pictures.
Yes.
Bale on the left with the boots on to match Mike Dean's refereeing top. Bright orange they are. Back to Van der Vaart, then infield to Modric, and then back to Dawson. Van der Vaart on the halfway line. Spurs allowed to just pick their passes and ping the ball around at will by a West Ham side that really hasn't managed to work Tottenham out. Lennon on the right, runs at Bridge. Bridge has done well.
Done a solid job out there.
Yeah, the problem with Lennon, though, persisted, that there's a lack of end product to his play. There always has been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know so much about that. I mean, there are certain instances where he can do better, but there are certain instances where he's improved in that respect. So I do take your point.
Backheel by Modric, and now it's with Dawson on the halfway line. It broke down. I've just had to change my headphones there, Steve. They'd stopped working. He did remarkably well to help me out there. Here's Michael Dawson for Tottenham. Midway inside their own half, 0-0. Spurs in their blue and white, playing from right to left in the first half on 5 Live. The 3 o'clock commentary at top of the table, Manchester United against another one of the FA Cup semi-finalists, Bolton. And then after that, we've got the conclusion of the Six Nations tonight. Ireland against England, the whole game live to see if England can win a Grand Slam. Modric for Tottenham. To Jermaine Defoe, back to the Croatian Modric, into the penalty area, right foot shot, just wide, very, very close to a goal for Tottenham. They have been so close on so many occasions. It's still 0-0, but not many inside White Hart Lane can work out how.
Surely you would change it though, wouldn't you? I mean, if you're Avram Grant, unless you don't know how to, you would change the game. You have to change the game. You cannot allow players of this quality the time and space that West Ham are. There's so many players in the West Ham team looking around thinking, what is going on out here? I'm not quite sure where I should be. Why am I not challenging, closing the ball down? Why are we not challenging? How are they getting so much time and space? When we get the ball, it seems to be so congested.
Well, Avram Grant and Wally Downs are still on the edge of the technical area for West Ham on the far side. Harry Redknapp quite relaxed, just sat on the end of the Tottenham bench alongside Joe Jordan. Yeah.
He can't. I mean,
he'll be frustrated though, Steve.
He will.
But there's no need to do anything.
There's no need to do anything, though, is there? Just carry on like this. There's no way in the world that they can hold out like this, West Ham.
Spurs are winless in their last 3 Premier League matches, which has set them back a bit in their pursuit of the Champions League next season. Blackpool, Wolves and AC Milan in the Champions League. They didn't win any of those 3. And they've had enough chances to win this game already in the first half. Lennon towards Chorluka on the far side. This time Demba Ba seemed to realise what he had to do and track Chorluka back again.
But it was only because the move slightly broke down with an extra pass. If they got Chorluka out early, he would have been cleared. Demba Ba is not proactive, he's reactive. And what he's doing is when the ball is on this side of the pitch, he's over the other side. He's not tucking himself round so that when West Ham lose it, he's not in a position where he can get back. You've got to tuck yourself around. Now all of a sudden, if you haven't got the ball, you have to tuck yourself around and make yourself difficult to beat and get goal side when it breaks down.
Michael Dawson for Tottenham, and now Modric, who's been involved in pretty much everything in this first half, the Croatian who just seems to glide around the pitch, never gives the ball away, and the movement he's got, Steve, means that even against this patchwork West Ham team, he's always available. He's a fantastic player.
Look at this.
He's got at least 30 yards of space all around him.
Absolutely incredible. When you think West Ham have got 3 midfielders playing centrally, for someone just to pick the ball up and play like that is staggering.
Lennon to Sandro, and then back to Lennon. Angle of the box on the right side, moves through the shadows towards the edge of the D. Running right across the pitch is Lennon. Laid back now to Rafael van der Vaart. Stabbed in towards Defoe. Partially cut out by Parker. Modric picks up the loose ball, and Asui Kotu swings it out to the right side, and Chorluka back in field to Asui Kotu. Now it's with Van der Vaart towards Jermaine Defoe, who'd come back from an offside position, and the flag is raised on the far side, and it's a free kick on the edge of the penalty area to West Ham.
I don't mind sides coming here and conceding ground. There's no problem with that. I understand if you're going to defend deep, not allow Tottenham in behind you. That's not an issue. But when you get in the final third, you expect people then to stop you playing. But West Ham aren't.
It's interesting though, Steve, that they've managed to stop in the main, Lennon on the right and Bale on the left, but they can't stop the Tottenham attacks from the middle, can they?
That's right. It's almost like, as I say, they're worried about the 2 wide boys and forgetting Van der Vaart and Modric in the middle.
Here is Van der Vaart, time to bring it down as he does effortlessly on the halfway line, through towards Bale, and it was only just blocked by Da Costa.
He's got his head in his hands, doesn't he, Van der Vaart, because he knows that if that had gone through, Bale's clean through on goal.
Especially with Bale's pace. Here's O'Neill on the right-hand side. He's just caught by Bale. Got to agree with you as well. That point you made about the undershorts that were the wrong colour.
Yeah.
Surely now these rules have been brought in, it's got to become part of the staple routine of the officials to check each dressing room and almost have a uniform assessment before the game starts.
Well, I'm looking at that, and as I said, I mean, his shorts are pretty long, whether or not he's just pulled them up. And then, they've just had a quick look.
In fairness,
it's almost like you're going to have to lift
blue ones over the white ones as well, hasn't he? He's got blue and white shorts on.
Yeah, you're almost going to have to lift the shorts up of these players to have a look.
West Ham free kick.
So long.
Yeah, Hitzelsberger delivers into the penalty area. Dawson jumps above De Costa and clears. And then Van der Vaart just flicks it away from Noble, and he's off to the races. Over the halfway line. Hacked down from behind by a backtracking Upson.
Exactly.
Free kick to
a
Tottenham.
Backtracking West Ham player. Not the first time we've seen that, and I doubt the last. That's when you know you're not set up properly, when you keep running it back at your own goal, chasing the opposition down, when you're not goal side, when you don't have the ball. It's very, very strange.
37 minutes gone. 0-0 on 5 Live. 0-0 in the Championship game that's underway as well. Sheffield United against Leeds. Kilmarnock 3, Motherwell 1 is the latest score in the SPL. As Sandro gives the ball away. They've just in a bit of a flat spot, Tottenham.
You can't dominate like they have done for 90 minutes. There's no, you just can't. What you've got to do is make sure you get your goal in that period.
West Ham haven't won here since 1999. Ian Wright was amongst the scorers when they last triumphed at White Hart Lane. It's been a bogey ground for them, and on this evidence it's not hard to see why. The recent flourish of form, 10 points from the last 4 Premier League games. Well, that confidence, as Ian Dennis mentioned earlier, seems to have evaporated with that defeat in the FA Cup against Stoke City. West Ham in the claret and blue have got the ball. Upson on the edge of his penalty area to Bridge. Notice they've just swapped Lennon and Bale round Tottenham. Lennon's come out to the left and Bale's playing on the right, just to give the West Ham defence something else to think about and readjust to. Asuikoto, 10 yards inside the West Ham half. Back to Dawson inside Tottenham territory. He swings a fantastic ball out to Gareth Bale. Bale now to the edge of the penalty area to Van der Vaart. Didn't control it first time. Too strong in the tackle though for Noble. And he gets it to Luka Modric. Modric tried to play Lennon in, just delayed the ball. Back out to Lennon now left side. Lennon to take on Jakobsen for the first time. Runs into Gary O'Neill. And the January signing from Middlesbrough can bring it away for West Ham. But their possession doesn't last very long at all. Gallas has got the ball, and it's now back to the goalkeeper, Aurelio Gomez. I think Bale looks relatively comfortable on the right. I'm not necessarily sure that Lennon does down the left.
Well, I mean, Lennon will be... he scored the other day, didn't he? I think he scored the winner the other day when he cut in from the left, so...
Here's a chance for Noble to run into the Tottenham penalty area. Flick back by Cole. It might fall for Barr, and it's headed away inside the box by Michael Dawson, and then cleared out the far side by Sandro, who exchanges passes with Bale. Sandro, though, shrugged off the ball by Carlton Cole. Space on the left for Bridge. Crossed into the penalty area, too high for Barr. And Asuikoto, the Cameroon international, can clear high towards the halfway line, right onto the waiting head of Jakobsen, who heads it straight to Modric. Now Carlton Cole's got to track Modric back into his own half. Modric out to the left-hand side and Lennon. Jakobsen backs off. Lennon's into the penalty area. Lennon's shot hits the post, and it didn't manage to fall for Defoe. It's gone wide off the Tottenham player for a goal kick. How did they not score?
That's why he swapped him over, just because, as you say, they weren't having a great deal of success. Tottenham down the wings. It was more in the central. And this time, every time they get it, they can cut into central areas. And let's be honest, they're having the freedom of the park to shoot. He's unlucky there. It's gone through a couple of legs, and then as the ball's come back, it's come back into the centre of the goal.
It's hit Defoe, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. It's hit Defoe and then gone away for a goal kick. So yes, yet again, we sat here. Every time you say 0-0, I'm sort of got to have just a little rejig and think, is it really 0-0?
Can I just rewind it as well? That point I made about Lennon not looking too comfortable down the left. Strike that from the record,
okay.
please.
I just wasn't sure it was you that said that.
It was, It was me that said that. You weren't hearing things. So 0-0, astonishingly. Tottenham have hit the woodwork twice. They've had at least 6 or 7 good opportunities. That one good chance for West Ham for Carlton Cole at the other end. It's probably one of the biggest 0-0 hammerings we've seen all season.
I mean, possession, I'd love to see what possession is as well. It probably, 80-20? Possession-wise, at least.
I'd like to know as well how many minutes of the first half the ball has been in the West Ham half of the field.
Yeah.
It's back in there now with Asuikoto. who spins away from O'Neill. Back it goes to Gallas in a central position, just short of the halfway line. 5 minutes to play in the first half, 0-0. Scott Parker on a White Hart Lane pitch that's bathed in sunshine today, and the shadows from the stand on the far side just creeping over the pitch. But this near side where we're sitting, bathed in sunshine, it's a glorious North London lunchtime. Hitzelsberger's ball into the box. That's straight at Aurelio Gomez, who catches. And then because of this high tempo that Tottenham are playing at today, they're really up for this and really enjoying it. Bolted out quickly to Asuikoto on the left-hand side. Infield now to Van der Vaart. This free roll for Van der Vaart makes him so difficult to find for opposing teams, and when he's got that ability to link up with Modric, well, when they're in this kind of form, it can be virtually impossible to clamp them down. Dawson to Asuikoto on the halfway line, left side, floated forward towards Lennon, headed away by the Dane Jakobsen, and then the loose ball picked up by Gary O'Neill and played infield to Scott Parker. Now Noble still short of the halfway line, back infield to Parker. There's nowhere for West Ham to go to get out.
There's nothing forward because Carlton Cole's dropped in, worried about Sandro getting the ball if they lose it. And there's absolutely no option going forward for them.
Not sure what's worse today, my throat or West Ham's tactics. Here's Barr just outside the D. The January arrival from Hoffenheim. Now Hitzelsberger. Nice turn by Barr. Accelerates towards the penalty area, runs into Chorluka. The Croatian did really well on the edge of his own box.
Yeah, that was a great tackle. There's no doubt about that. He needed to make that. It's a good run from Barr. It's a perfectly timed tackle and good defending.
West Ham will come again with Parker. Runs past Sandro towards the penalty area. The young Brazilian just managed to get a touch to that. And then Chorluka can't prevent the corner.
Well, Chorluka doesn't know that. He's got to get on that earlier and clear the ball.
I think he realised in the end that it had come off the Brazilian Sandro.
Yes, it took him an awful long time to realise that, didn't it?
Opportunity this though for West Ham. 2 minutes to play in the first half. They've got a corner on the left-hand side. Matthew Upson's come up from the back, so has the Brazilian Manuel da Costa. And noticeably, O'Neill and Cole are almost stood on the toes of Aurelio Gomez. Demba Ba is in the 6-yard box as well. Swung in by Noble. Launching himself at the ball was Upson. Didn't get a touch. Now there's all kinds of room for Lennon down the left-hand side for Tottenham. Gets away from the challenge of Hitzelsberger. Gives it to Asuikoto. Didn't control it well though, Lennon. West Ham have got it back again. And here comes Hitzelsberger for them. Into the penalty area towards Barr. Barr with an angled cross-come shot that's straight at Gomez.
He's proved on the right-hand side he's not quite sure of where he should be on the pitch as well. He's just got to whip that ball round there he cannot possibly from that acute angle with his weaker foot put that ball in the back of the net there.
It's been a really good game to watch. It's wide open. West Ham coming forward down the left, but Bridges' ball is too far in front of Cole, and Tottenham can regroup again and start off from midway inside their own half with Van der Vaart. Now Modric to Defoe, still scratching his head to work out how he didn't get the ball into the back of the net after Lennon's shot came back off the post. Here is Lennon on the left-hand side, chalk on the boots as always. Modric towards Van der Vaart, who's side down by Scott Parker. For the first yellow card of the game for Scott Parker, and a free kick for Tottenham in a central position 30 yards from goal.
You've got to if you make those challenges, you've got to get the ball, and unfortunately Scott Parker doesn't. It's not from behind, it's almost side on, but as Van der Vaart allows the ball to go past Scott Parker and just across him, Parker comes in and then he takes Van der Vaart. To be fair, Van der Vaart does well from a Tottenham perspective, because he lays down, rolls around, sees that Parker gets booked and gets up ready to take the free kick.
Final minute of the first half.
Big free kick this, by the way.
Minute of stoppage time to play. Michael Dawson and Rafael van der Vaart are over the free kick. 4-man West Ham wall, and they're literally stood on the edge of the D. Rob Green in the centre of his goal. Here comes Van der Vaart then for Tottenham. Left foot, lot of bend, not enough power, and a comfortable take for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's no different to the one that he's played out to Chorluka before, but it's just more central. It's a long way to go. We're talking about 35, 36, 37 yards sort of thing. You're going to need awfully good free kick there to beat Green.
despite the recent revival of West Ham and the fact they've scored lots of goals, they have been shipping one or two at the other end.
Yeah, well, that's always been their problem this year, is defensively.
The fact they're 0-0 in this match at the moment will give them a bit of a lift, I suppose. Upson with an important challenge on Defoe inside the penalty area. Throw into Tottenham, which is taken to Modric on this left-hand side. To Lennon. Lennon moves infield of Jakobsen, pokes it short to Modric, who can always find Van der Vaart. Van der Vaart just outside the area. Right foot shot by Van der Vaart. Straight at Green.
No, I mean, they'll take that, let's be honest. That's the less dangerous of all the options. Getting him on his wrong foot, going away from goal, and letting him shoot there.
Half-time whistle blows. 6 or 7 fantastic chances for Tottenham. Steve Claridge, explain how it's 0-0.
I think probably more from luck than judgment, let's put it that way, because they're bordering on a shambles, West Ham out there, with regard to when they haven't got the ball, closing the play down and making life difficult. How Spurs, as you say, haven't scored and aren't leading this game is staggering.
I've not seen a game, Mark, dominated by one team for 45 minutes like this without them scoring in the Premier League this season. Half-time, Tottenham 0, West Ham 0.
Certainly looked an entertaining game as we watched it in the press room downstairs here at the Hawthorns, where the sun is out. I'm at West Brom Arsenal, Manchester United Bolton, our focus from 3 o'clock. The thoughts of Martin Keown on Arsenal's title challenge to come in a few moments' time. Before that, still the first half in Yorkshire in the Championship. Peter Slater.
Sun's still shining here at Bramall Lane. It's 0-0 between Sheffield United and Leeds with 12 minutes to half-time. Although I can't really see that a draw would suit either manager. Leeds should have scored when Max Gradel headed a Lee Hadge cross right across goal and wide, and Kasper Schmeichel at the other end. 2 decent saves, a one-handed punch to clear a Bogdanovic free kick, and a tip over the bar from Nick Montgomery. 11 minutes to half-time. Sheffield United 0, Leeds 0.
In the SPL, Kilmarnock 3, Motherwell 1. Latest score, 12 o'clock kick-off there. 1:36 on 5 Live Sport. Here's Tom Sanders with the news.
Online at bbc.co.uk/5live.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
A plane's been shot down over the rebel stronghold of Benghazi as the city comes under a sustained attack from Colonel Gaddafi's troops. Despite the fighting, the government in Libya is insisting it's keeping to its ceasefire and blames the violence on the rebels. The US, UK and France have warned Gaddafi if the attacks continue, he'll face international military intervention. Our correspondent Kevin Connolly is near the Egyptian border in Tobruk.
The latest that we are hearing from Benghazi is that there has been a heavy and sustained bombardment, probably using tanks and lorry-propelled rockets. There's also been aircraft in the air over the city, and the feeling in rebel-held eastern Libya is that Muammar Gaddafi is using what he would see as a closing window of opportunity to exercise his military force before the West is ready to exercise its military force.
David Cameron's joined other European leaders, the US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and the head of the Arab League at an emergency summit in Paris to discuss how to implement the UN no-fly zone over Libya. It's thought planes could be in the skies within hours of those talks. Our defence correspondent Caroline Wyatt says it's possible Colonel Gaddafi could start using human shields.
The longer the delay, the more of the forces will be able to get into Benghazi and put, for example, tanks near civilian installations. And in a city of 1 million people, you're always going to have civilians in some of the areas. You're going to have to choose your targets extremely carefully. Clearly, there is always going to be that risk, and that's something that Colonel Gaddafi can also work towards and capitalise on. He can start putting civilians near, for example, his air defences.
Earlier, the government in Libya issued a stern warning to the United Nations, UK, France and the US, saying they'll regret getting involved in Libyan affairs and that the UN resolution is invalid. The UN's refugee agency says it expects 200,000 people to flee the country. Other news now, the International Atomic Energy Agency says Japan has stopped the sale of food from the area near the Fukushima nuclear plant after radiation was detected in some produce. Rescue teams searching for a missing man in Angus think he may have died in an avalanche. They found the 69-year-old's body this morning in Glendale. And Prince William is continuing his tour of New Zealand and Australia by visiting the state of Queensland. The Prince met people affected by last month's cyclone. And the travel news now, here's Louise Pepper.
Well, slightly better news for the M40 in Oxfordshire. 2 lanes have reopened now southbound between Prince's Risborough at Junction 6 and Junction 5 at Stokenchurch, following that full closure after an accident at 8 o'clock this morning. Over an hour and a half's delay, though, back to Tame at Junction 7. It's also led to long delays for the A40 as well. Don't have to take my word for it. Martin Keown can back that one up. Staffordshire, queues for the M6 northbound at Junction 13 at Stafford South, following an earlier accident. Half an hour's delay back to Junction 11A to the M6 toll. And in Edinburgh, traffic all heading to Murrayfield for the 2:30 kick-off for Scotland v Italy means the A720, the city bypass, is heavy at the A8, and then the A8 queuing all the way into Murrayfield. Louise Pepper, 5 Live Travel.
What a weekend of Six Nations it's been.
Fantastic
Controversy in Cardiff.
And Wales are going to win.
History in Rome, and now a hard-fought English victory.
England are 2/3 of the way to a Triple Crown. 4th leg of a Grand Slam.
Six Nations Rugby Union concludes this weekend. Super Saturday, including Ireland, England and France against Wales. Live across the BBC. This afternoon from 5 on BBC One, online and here on 5 Live.
More from Matt Dawson in Dublin in a second. Manchester United Bolton's our 3 o'clock game with John Murray. I'm here at the Hawthorns for West Brom against second-placed Arsenal. It's going to be Manuel Almunia's first Premier League appearance since this at the Emirates in September.
Arsenal give the ball away again. Here's Gonzalo Yara coming forward. Low shot from him, and Almunia has spilled it. And West Bromwich Albion lead by 2-0, and that's a clear-cut goalkeeping error by Manuel Almunia. He spooned the shot from Gonzalo Yara into his near post.
I don't think that you can blame goalkeeper more than our defenders or our midfielders on the goals, because they were as guilty as he was.
Arsene Wenger after the 3-2 defeat. Let's have a word with former Arsenal defender Martin Keown. Martin, good afternoon to you.
Good morning, Mark.
He's back again then, isn't he? Jens Lehmann is back with Manuel Almunia. How is that going to work, given their relationship when the German left the club?
Well, I was talking to Manuel Almunia this week, and he was telling me what a great guy Jens is away from the football. So, you know, I think things have been dramatised in the media, and yes, I think that was the stance that Jens took to be number one. He wanted to just isolate himself almost, and I think he'll understand now that it's a different role. You know, he's coming in there to be supportive and much more collective. Of course, he's incredibly professional, and if it needs to be said in that dressing room, he will say it. He's a father figure now in that dressing room.
Is this what Arsenal maybe need right now? Somebody who might not even play, but possibly tell them to pull their collective finger out, if you like.
Very much so. You know, at the end of the day, Jens has achieved a great deal in his career. Very professional. I mean, probably the most professional player that I've played with. Incredible trainer. He brings that work ethic to the club. He's been, you know, over the winning line many times. They need people around like that in the dressing room. And I think he'd be playing 2 roles. Of course, he'll still feel that he can play some part on the pitch, but off the pitch, he needs to give them the right sort of habits and identify, you know, if you're not putting in a stint, Jens, I've heard him many times, he'll dig people out in the right sort of way and put the club on course.
Martin, really interesting being in the press room here. Everybody in the press saying what a massive match this is for Arsenal. If they don't win, I don't think anybody in the press here today thinks they can go on and win the league. And if Arsenal don't win the league, this is the last year of Arsene Wenger's 5-year plan. He called it that, where in the early stages he was hamstrung monetarily because of the move to the Emirates. He's not now. He's chosen not to spend the money. And if Arsenal don't win a trophy, you could see Arsene Wenger doing what? Having to rip up this idea of going with the kids, as it were.
Yes, I mean, these are his words. It was, you know, obviously it was a club decision, you know, moving to the promised land, so to speak. Here we are now, sort of 5 or 6 years down the line. Great progression with the young kids, but, you know, almost failing them by not peppering them with, you know, better players maybe, or more experienced players in and around them. And yes, this summer, if they're not able to win anything, you feel certain that some of that 50 million and more by the time they get to there will be spent on just a little bit of experience. 1 or 2 players, maybe not quite as technically as gifted, but able to do certain things that this team isn't able to do.
Because, Martin, finally, I think a lot of people watching, whether they support Arsenal or not, don't understand why he didn't say buy a centre-half in January when Vermaelen was obviously struggling with this injury. He'd had setbacks already, hadn't he? And yet he elected to go with just 3 fit senior centre-halves, I stress the word senior, when they were still in 4 competitions with 5 months to go.
That's how he does things. You know, he deals himself a hand at the start of the season. He doesn't want to upset the future or the belief that he has in these youngsters. And, that's why he doesn't necessarily buy players. Maybe when I think on this occasion, maybe he should have brought a central defender. It's easy to say it now in hindsight. He couldn't have foreseen the level of injuries. Giroud, of course, now out. Vermaelen has been out all season, which is a massive loss for Arsenal. In the end, you're looking at Manchester United and Arsenal, and they've both depleted with injuries. You have to say, though, that Manchester United just find the ingredients to win. They've got that winning mentality, a little bit more experience than Arsenal. But they've got to grow. They've got to find those leaders in that Arsenal dressing room. Now's the time. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. And today is a massive occasion when you can put yourself down in Arsenal's history.
We're all about to find out. Martin, thank you as ever. Martin Keown there with his thoughts on Arsenal, where they go this season. Where they go today could determine an awful lot the next couple of months. And of course, 5 o'clock, we're in Dublin. Ireland against England, going for their first Grand Slam for 8 years. Here's Matt again.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, we've managed to find another quiet corner. I'm sat alongside Alistair Eakin, BBC commentator this afternoon. Alistair, it is rammed in the middle of town. Plenty of England supporters expecting an England win. You've been hanging out with the guys this week. Plenty of interviews. Do you sense any kind of complacency?
No complacency. I just don't think Martin Johnson will even entertain the possibility of that entering any of their heads. He's kept them all very measured. They all seem very calm, very collected. One thing I wanted to ask you about, actually, because the notion of kind of bringing the players to the boil at the right moment is a key one, isn't it? Martin Johnson, I know, this week has kept training very light. They haven't done an awful lot of contact work. Is it rather like a kind of thoroughbred racehorse? You have to make sure that they're peaking just at the right moment?
I managed to catch up with a couple of the players yesterday in their hotel, and I asked exactly that. What's their week been like? Because these guys have been together for 8 weeks and they know each other inside out. They've had some really hard training sessions, some sort of quite brutal, intense training sessions. But this week has been very, very quiet, and that's exactly what they wanted. It's about keeping the powder dry for the weekend, because all the hard work is done. These guys need to turn out at 5 o'clock, fresh as daisies, ready to implement this strategy.
Everybody talks about the experience, don't they, of the Grand Slam winning side. You think of your team in 03, Ireland when they did it in 09, and going back through history, generally speaking, their team's a bit further along their evolution than this England team. But do you think that counts for anything this afternoon, or is it irrelevant given the kind of core of this England side are young, they don't probably care much for the history books? It's all about going out there and expressing themselves.
I think actually the difference for me is that the players that are in decision-making roles are genuinely out there on the training field and on the pitch, making these decisions and making the team play well. Of course, the coaches are going to influence them in some degree, but maybe when, 8 years ago and previous to that, when England became a little bit unstuck, possibly were a bit robotic, maybe. Now there seems to be that maybe French-style joie de vivre, I don't know that, but the likes of Ben Young and Toby Flood, Nick Easter with the experience, they all of a sudden seem to go and play their way. And I am convinced that they will play their way this afternoon. I'm getting a lot of stick over here, Mark, because I'm saying that England are going to win, well, not say comprehensively, but maybe 7 or 8 points. So I'm keeping my head very low at the moment.
Well, as ever, time will tell. Sometimes we're all hostage to what we say, Matt, but it's going to be some event. Can't wait for that. Ireland against England, 5 o'clock, 7:45. France against Wales here on 5 Live. And updates from Andy Gillies from 2:30. Scotland against Italy, as they both, Andy, desperately want to avoid that spoon of wood.
Yes, this is what seems to be Scotland and Italy's regular battle, to avoid that wooden spoon. Both, I think, will feel they should have done better this time round. Italy have contended better. They, of course, notched up that famous win over France last weekend. Scotland were awful against Wales, but hugely improved against England in the Calcutta Cup. One thing seems certain: do not expect a try-fest. Italy haven't scored more than 1 try in their last 10 outings. Scotland, remarkably, have not scored a Six Nations try here at Murrayfield since 2009.
Thank you, Andy. All the rugby is live on BBC One today and the BBC Sport website. The big news from the Cricket World Cup this afternoon is that England are definitely through to the quarter-finals after South Africa beat the co-host Bangladesh by 206 runs this morning. Our reporter Alison Mitchell's with the England team in Delhi. They don't know where they're going quite yet, Ali, but at least Andy Flower and the team know for certain they're into the last 8.
That's right, they can relax somewhat, all except the physio, though, who I understand has been working extremely hard, because Andy Flowers told me there are quite a number of niggles around the squad, not least James Anderson, who's struggled in the games he's played in so far. But today it wasn't as if all the players sat around in the team room ardently watching the South Africa-Bangladesh game. A few went off to play golf, some sat by the pool, others went to the gym. Flower, though, was keeping a close eye on that TV, and at the end of it all, he was just glad that England's quarter-final place is now finally confirmed.
There is a sense of relief because with only 7 points in the bag, we had to rely on other results going our way. I suppose it would have been unlikely for both of those results not to have gone in our favour. But we got some early good news with the Bangladesh loss today, so it's great to be through.
Do you have a preference for which venue, if you were able to choose out of Dakar or Colombo?
I don't really. I've got a pretty open mind on whichever venue or whichever opposition we come up against, and I'm very excited about the game.
I mean, only to string together 3 victories would be a World Cup. I mean, what's the feeling of the confidence? Because, of course, victories have been hard to come by in this topsy-turvy nature, but, of course, 3 is all it would take.
Look, the recent history with this team is that they perform very well under pressure. There's no more pressured situation than an Ashes series. You know how we performed during that. The last World Tournament that we played in, we won. And here we are in a situation where each game, if we do progress through the quarter-final, will be a pressure situation, and I trust our guys to handle themselves very well in those situations.
India against the West Indies tomorrow. If India win that, then it looks likely England will play Sri Lanka in Colombo this time next week. Of course, we'll let you know exactly what's going on as to where England are going to play and against whom. In Colombo today, Australia 176 all out, Pakistan 45 for 2 in the 9th. Half-time at Bramall Lane in the Championship. Sheffield United 0, Leeds 0. Manchester United Bolton with Jimmy Armfield and John Murray from 3. We're at West Brom Arsenal, Wigan Birmingham, Villa Wolves, Blackburn Blackpool, Stoke Newcastle and Everton Fulham, and at Tottenham West Ham, somehow 0-0 at half-time in an entertaining game. Here's Ian Dennis.
Yes, thank you, Mark. The two teams have just taken to the field. No alterations as far as Tottenham are concerned, but I can only make out 10 for West Ham, and I think we're going to have a change.
Is it Tompkins was doing a
no,
bit
here's the straggler. Tompkins had been warming up at half-time, but then when I saw Da Costa, I was a little bit perplexed. But it was Carlton Cole who was the late arrival. So no alterations, in fact, from both sides. 5 Live Sport here at White Hart Lane in the sunshine, the Barclays Premier League. Spurs 0, West Ham 0. The home side, though, in that first half, dominated. Hit the crossbar early on, and Neil Lennon, when he switched to the left in the later stages of that first half, also hit the post. He's now back on the right. I said Neil Lennon then, didn't I? I just realised. Aaron Lennon. You know when you say something and then you think that's not quite right? That would have been a good effort for Neil Lennon to have hit the post.
It was actually wrong. It wasn't quite right at all. It was actually wrong, but there we go.
Anyway, Aaron Lennon, who's now back on the right. And no alteration. So Gomez in goal, Chorluka, Dawson, Gallas and Asu Akoto. Aaron Lennon, Modric, Sandro and Bale, Van der Vaart behind Defoe, and West Ham with Green in goal, Jakobsen, Da Costa, Upson and Bridge, O'Neill, Noble. Here is Carlton Cole, just break off. Carlton Cole in the penalty area, shoots, spooned away by Gomez. Following up was O'Neill, but it was pushed away from the former Middlesbrough player. Jakobsen is forward, Jakobsen's cross from the right, headed away by Dawson. Good start from West Ham United just to finish off that side. O'Neill, Noble, Parker and Hitzelsperger in the midfield, Cole and Demba Ba up front. Steve Claridge.
Yeah, just started a little bit slack, Tottenham there, and West Ham actually got men forward, got the ball in the box, and a little bit unlucky there with the finish.
0-0. This is Da Costa in the centre circle. West Ham in their claret and blue shirts and sky blue shorts are playing from right to left. And here is Modric, who's been outstanding as Van der Vaart is down. Didn't see what actually happened to the Dutchman, but Mike Dean has blown his whistle. He's on his knees at the moment, and the physio will soon be coming on to tend to the Dutchman, who in fact now is just on his haunches. Steve.
Yes, I think I mean, looking at that, I was following the ball there, but it looks like as he's gone to turn, I think his knee's just given way there, and he's stretched, and he's got up now. He looks all right. I think he's feeling his groin actually there.
Darren suggesting that he got caught in the unmentionables from the knee of Matthew Upson.
Oh, lovely.
I got that in about 5. He wouldn't be good at charades, would he, Darren? Anyway,
well, we got the area right. We're not quite sure how we got there, but we were near where it happened anyway.
Green downfield, headed on by Demba Ba, hooked away just in the nick of time by Gallas as Carlton Cole put him under pressure. Van der Vaart now running a little bit more freely with a long raking ball towards Gareth Bale. Can't keep the ball in play, and so it'll be a West Ham throw. In the first half I had the binoculars out.
Yes.
And I know you looked at me in a rather quizzical fashion, but I was trying to see who was in the director's box. I mean, we're right up in the lot. Just to give you an idea of how high we are here, if I was to actually stand up, I could touch the girders, the iron girders that support the roof in the stand that is opposite the main stand. So I was looking across on the far side as Van der Vaart is forward. His square ball on the edge of the penalty area, cleared away by Bridge. The left back was tucked in and covering well. It was behind Jermaine Defoe. Asu Okota will collect it. But I was trying to work out if Fabio Capello was actually here. But in fact, it's Franco Baldini who's here at White Hart Lane and watching several players on show when, of course, the squad is announced tomorrow evening at around 8 o'clock. You'll be able to hear news of that on 5 Live ahead of the 2012 European qualifier against Wales, where of course Bale will feature, and it's Bale's cross driven in hard and low, and then he was caught afterwards by Noble, and Bale has stayed down. Maybe it might not feature Bale next week after all, following that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Noble's done that already once with Sandro in the first half, and Sandro had his shot on the edge of the box, and he does leave his foot in there, Noble, as he goes to make the challenge. If the other player gets there first and has his shot or cross, Noble does follow through, and it tends to kick the bottom of Noble's foot.
It was on the follow through after he's driven in the cross. The left foot was still in the air, and Noble's follow through has caught Gareth Bale, who's hobbling. He's on his feet. It's Noble who's in fact getting the attention now as well.
I looked at you a little bit funny with the binoculars because it was actually the time when Gareth Bale was having his shorts changed as well, wasn't it?
No, that's a blatant lie. I was commentating at that point.
I did.
Yeah.
No, I'm just something.
No, I was being. I was being.
I'll have to have a look at that. Actually,
I was being professional, Mr. Claridge.
Okay, fine, no problem.
0-0. Noble's still off the field of play now as he's just tying up his bootlace. So they're going to be down to 10 men to defend this free kick.
We think you protest us too much there, actually, but anyway, let's carry on.
This is Van der Vaart with the free kick. It's an away swinger, headed away by Carlton Cole. Just took it away from Chorluka.
Everyone back, look. Everyone back for West Ham. Dead ball situations, free kicks, corners. They're putting everyone back.
Modric rolls the ball to Chorluka, back inside to his fellow Croat. Modric into the penalty area, good strength. Defoe, saved by the legs of Green. Put back in by Lennon. Modric then covering the ball under control without it going out of play for a goal kick. An outstretched leg by Robert Green denies Jermaine Defoe, and still the deadlock remains to be broken.
He'll never get a better chance this season. I don't know whether he'll get a better chance in his career. He is 5 yards out, he's got a touch, nobody with him. He's actually on Green, is on the goal line, so he's got 5 yards, so he's not been closed down. All he's got to do is just lift the ball into the far corner, and somehow he turns, doesn't hit, I don't think he snatches at it, but somehow he hits Green, who just puts his leg out when he's got the whole of the goal to aim for. Fantastic opportunity for him yet again. You get the feeling as the longer it goes on, you start to question whether it's their day or not.
You'd expect Robert Green to be in the squad. He actually didn't feature in the squad against Denmark in last month's friendly, but he was in the squad for the France game in November.
Should not really have had a chance there, shouldn't to get anywhere near that. Let's be honest.
Kilmarnock have beaten Motherwell by 3-1 at Rugby Park in the SPL. That is a full-time score. Here in the Barclays Premier League at White Hart Lane, it is still Spurs 0, West Ham United 0. It could be a precious point, which at times you would hardly believe is possible for West Ham, that could take them temporarily out of the bottom three if they avoid defeat.
Let's be honest, sometimes results don't always give an impression of a game, a true reflection of a game. This is the perfect example of that.
The goal has been coming for a long time, is yet to arrive as West Ham hang in there. Modric twisting and turning into the penalty area, lays it back to Van der Vaart, goes across his body, plays the ball through to Defoe. Defoe on the inside, Defoe then was he impeded. This is Gareth Bale, shot charged down. Jermaine Defoe, just when he went to shoot right-footed, somehow checked. Whether he was just caught by Da Costa, it rolled to Bale, and then they closed down the Welsh international, and that was good defending from West Ham. It's still 0-0, but the pressure once again is building. Spurs in pursuit of Chelsea for a Champions League spot for next season to finish 4th, really do need the 3 points. They need to kick on now. It's that time of the season where they need to start to make their home form count after going 3 games without a win. This is Bale. Bale on the right, looks to try and get past Bridge. Bale into the penalty area, cross is easily dealt with by Upson and marked on the edge of the 6-yard box. And I don't want to look too far over the edge, but it has gone out of play for a throw. Taken by Chorluka to Van der Vaart. Back out to Chorluka on the right-hand side, almost level with the penalty area, closed down by Hitzelsberger. And as every minute goes by...
Yeah, you do, you absolutely.
The West Ham are growing a little bit more belief.
Every missed chance that happens, it just knocks a little bit out of Tottenham. You just, as I say, you can only dominate for so long in a game, but you have to get some sort of reward.
So just as they did in the first half now, Lennon and Bale have switched flanks once again. Lennon on the left, Bale on the right. It's midway through the West Ham half with the 5'6" figure of Luka Modric. Chorluka joins the attack. Chorluka's curling cross, flicked away by Jakobsen. And then Gary O'Neill will try and outrun Asu Okoto, but the ball run out of play for a throw.
And not the right option, certainly not the right option for Gary O'Neill to knock it past Okoto and try and outrun him, but it just goes to show just another example of lack of options for someone on the ball.
We'll be getting team news as well through the course of this second half from our 3 o'clock games, where the commentary comes from Old Trafford. Manchester United against Bolton. As you know, Mark Pugac is at the Hawthorns. West Brom against Arsenal. So a significant afternoon as far as the title race is concerned, and equally at the foot of the table with those games between Aston Villa and Wolves, Blackburn against Blackpool, and at the DW Stadium, Wigan against Birmingham. And then we switch our attentions from 5 after the football to Ireland against England in the Six Nations. In England, of course, looking for the Grand Slam. In the cricket, England are through to the quarter-finals of the World Cup after South Africa's 206-run victory, comprehensively beating Bangladesh. So England through to the last 8. They just don't know who they're going to play yet. But it's guaranteed to be very interesting, nerve-wracking, captivating, call it what you like, as has been the majority of England's games in the World Cup. But here, we're captivated by this game, and it's still 0-0, wondering if Spurs can prise open this West Ham defence as Bale toils away a midfielder, gets away from the challenge of Barr, feeds it through to Defoe. Defoe running in field, running into traffic. He had support with Lennon out to his left. West Ham will bring the ball away. Steve Claridge.
It's still too easy. I mean, I'm looking at the ball into Defoe there, and he is the only prominent player up front for for Tottenham yet. There's 4 players around him, and he's so easily picked out there. Time and space again.
West Ham's turn to attack. West Ham with O'Neill into the penalty area. O'Neill's cross, half cleared. Acrobatic effort from Noble was just wide. That would have been a stunning goal.
I'm looking at that, and unless Gomez knows that he's going wide, I mean, he just doesn't move. I don't know whether he expects Noble to take that as a bicycle kick overhead or not, but he simply doesn't move. He's rooted to the spot, so it'd be really interesting to see whether he got that or not.
He could have been left very embarrassed. For Aurelio Gomez. It was a very good effort. He kept the clean sheets against Milan, but domestically you have to go back to early February for the last clean sheet that Gomez kept.
He still chucks one in, doesn't he, every now and again. Still makes a mistake every now and again that costs Spurs.
West Ham lose possession. Van der Vaart, the referee, though,
he stopped it because he's going to put the player, and Sandro is in a huge amount of pain. I think he's been caught.
It was Carlton Cole, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who caught Sandro. Sandro, rather worryingly from a Tottenham point of view, isn't really moving a great deal. Ball was played forward. It was Carlton Cole who missed it, and it was, I think what didn't help is the weight of Carlton Cole has actually collapsed onto what looked like a stretched leg of Sandro.
Yeah, it is. That's what's happened. I don't think Cole hasn't done him. I don't think he's gone to go through him. What he's done is, as the tackle's been made, Cole has fallen on him, and he's got his leg in a difficult position where he's fallen. As you say, his weight's gone on it, and the knee is slightly twisted as he's taken the weight from Cole, and they're often worse than the ones that you actually know are coming, and you actually get caught, and you can ride those ones, whereas these you don't. You can't second guess it, and you say, it looks in a fair amount of pain.
And when you consider the muscular physique of Carlton Cole, there's quite a lot of weight to fall on.
Did he book him there as well, by the way?
I don't think he did he?
He got a card out. I'm not quite sure what he was doing. I'm sure he got a card out, but we'll have to have a little look at that. I know he stopped it because you could see instantly Sandro was in.
Can I ask you, whilst the treatment now, Sandro's sitting up and getting the treatment. We mentioned earlier Franco Baldini is here, and with Adam Johnson and James Milner coming back into the Manchester City side on Thursday night, this is a big opportunity for Aaron Lennon, who hasn't played for England since Algeria in the World Cup in the summer. How would you analyse Aaron Lennon's performance? Bearing in mind he switched from right to left, back out to the right and then to the left again.
Yeah, I mean there's been one or two times when certainly I think Bridges played particularly well. He played him particularly well. He's been a little bit predictable with regard to what he's done with the ball, but that is Aaron Lennon's problem. What they have done, West Ham, is we have stopped the two wide boys playing because they've been so preoccupied with doubling up. So every time he's got it, West Ham have doubled up. What that has allowed, though, is the boys in the midfield, in the middle areas, to flourish and gain space. So in a way, he hasn't been great with the ball, but by just his sense of being there has caused West Ham to let the players in the midfield of Tottenham's central areas have space.
Because with no Theo Walcott and the two Manchester City wide players just coming back after injury, it is an opportunity ahead of that game against Wales. Cole was booked apparently.
I thought so.
Charlotte Nicola, producer, has just confirmed that. So Carlton Cole booked for West Ham. Very harsh. Headed away by Dawson. Still Tottenham 0, West Ham United 0. Nearly an hour played here in the sunshine in North London as Parker comes forward. Parker to Jakobsen. Jakobsen inside to O'Neill, right corner of the penalty area. Well challenged by Sandro, who is hobbling. It was a well-timed challenge, and then the ball played forward by Aaron Lennon, up in the air by Modric. Modric made the best out of that, and then actually kicks the floor in annoyance as it rolled away from Aaron Lennon on that far side, the left, as the shadows of that main stand just start to creep across towards us here, almost a third of the pitch over on that far side. Clear blue skies, but 0-0. But the West Ham fans singing and chanting, which stokes up the Spurs supporters, so therefore we have a good atmosphere for this vital game at both ends of the table. Yet to have a goal here on 5 Live. Upson.
It's almost like they've been frightened to sing, isn't it? Because it's almost like expecting any minute to go a goal behind, sort of West Ham fans. Even as you said, as the game goes on, even they're starting to believe now maybe there's something in it for them.
Hitzelsberger turning away from Sandro, forcing the ball to Barr, laying it off to Parker, coming forward, Parker to Barr with his back to goal. Noble out towards the right hand side, good passing move from West Ham. Jakobsen's cross from the right hand side, headed away by Sandro inside the penalty area. Noble's layoff out towards Parker. Parker midway through the Tottenham half, Van der Vaart goes towards him, Parker turns around and then spins once more just to find a little bit of pocket of space there for Scott Parker. Patient play, picks out O'Neill, and that touch came off Aaron Lennon. It's a West Ham throw on the right hand side. A little bit more composure about West Ham's play in this second period.
I mean, Spurs, as we said, they can't have all the possession, they can't have all the play. Certainly when West Ham have got it, what they've got to do is make sure that they keep it and make sure there are options for the player on the ball, because we keep giving it away. I mean, we keep saying that Tottenham are going to score, but as the game goes on, you're looking at it thinking, well, if they continue to have this sort of luck, West Ham, then will Tottenham score?
Modric heads it on towards Gareth Bale. Clearance from West Ham only to Defoe. Defoe runs forward to the edge of the area, onto his right foot, finds Modric just outside the D. Modric finds a little bit of space and then plays the ball to Chorluka. Chorluka into the penalty area, right hand side. Chorluka's cross across the face of goal. And it's a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, it's yet again, unfortunately for Tottenham, Chorluka is the main player they're getting out because he's the extra man. They're working the play, getting it wide, and unfortunately for Chorluka, he's not been great on his delivery.
The assistant referee signalled that it was a goal kick. Mike Dean has overruled him and said it's a throw.
I thought it was a throw, actually. I didn't think that had gone out.
Down by the corner flag over on that far side, deep inside the West Ham half. Referee Mike Dean is now saying handball. That'll be a Spurs free kick about 35 yards out from goal on the left-hand side. Harry Redknapp in conversation with Joe Jordan in the technical area, just maybe wondering if he's thinking of a change with Crouch and Pavlyuchenko on the bench for Spurs. Modric swings over the free kick. Van der Vaart tried to flick it on with his heel, headed away by Cole on defensive duties. Bale with his back to goal to Sandro in the centre circle as Spurs have to retreat. Asuokoto on the left hand side has Modric with him. Modric looks up, Bale has made the run, instead he goes back towards the halfway line for Sandro. Sandro has space to run into, but he finds the feet of Modric, who is side on to goal. He turns away from Noble to Defoe, trying to spin away from Da Costa. Da Costa comes back for a second opportunity, but Defoe has laid the ball behind him. And to Sandro, a little touch from Van der Vaart, intercepted by Bridge. Again, Bridge has done well. Lennon's back on the right hand side. They continue to switch the two wide players. Bale on the left, Van der Vaart tries to pick him out, high on the chest, takes it down. Bale then looks to come on the inside. Bale into the penalty area. Bale's shot takes a deflection off Parker. They appeal for handball. Referee Mike Dean shakes his head, and Upson has all the time in the world to bring the ball away for West Ham United. 0-0.
I mean, Bale, when he gets the ball, it's incredibly easy how quickly he goes past people. He just glides past people, whether he comes inside or goes down the line. That pace is just incredible at times.
This is Lennon exchanging passes with Modric. Chorluka, triangular passing movement, and it's inside along the ground to Sandro. Van der Vaart deep in the centre circle of the West Ham half, out towards Asuokoto on the left. Bale has made the run, creates a bit of space for Asuokoto to make the run inside, then he tries to pick out Bale, but Jakobsen was alert and alive to the danger and stopped that forward ball. No penetration as Van der Vaart now picks it up for Tottenham. Van der Vaart, square ball. Modric has a little bit of space. Modric waits, delays, out towards Lennon, right hand side. Lennon into the penalty area, back to Modric, didn't strike it cleanly. Easy save for Green.
Upson does well, Noble does well. They both go to close him down in there, and it's Noble who makes the block. It's good defending. The one thing you can say from West Ham is that they've done their job manfully in that respect. But how we are where we are in this game is incredible.
Well, including this game, Spurs, of their 9 remaining matches, 6 of them are at home. They've still to come Stoke, Arsenal, West Brom, Blackpool and Birmingham. But they've got to take advantage of their home form. They have only been beaten here once, surprisingly by Wigan, but they've drawn 5 games more than any other of the sides ahead of them as Barr shoots!
What a save!
What a save by Gomez! Barr got that one out, right-footed, 30-yard drive, and Gomez away to his left, fingertip save. West Ham, they've been under pressure for the majority of the game. They created the 2 best opportunities.
Well, whether or not you say that's as good an opportunity as Defoe's had in this up, I'm not quite sure. But
sorry, I'd forgotten about the
It's a great opportunity for us to see just what Gomez is good at. That full length, full stretch save, brilliant. Great play from Barr.
Corner kick swung over. Gomez was struggling, he was being impeded, and referee Mike Dean spotted that one. Super save though, wasn't it?
Brilliant. I mean, that's the one thing he does do is...
And what you have to praise the goalkeeper for is his concentration levels, bearing in mind he's had very little to do.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic strike from Denver. As soon as he opens himself up and he leaves Sandros as he does, and he looks up, he hits it with his right foot. I mean, he's playing on the left. It's a great strike. Dead aim into the corner, and Gomez, all the agility in the world. He's a real natural goalkeeper. Just by his looks, his athletic build, gets across fantastically well.
Spurs haven't created an opportunity for the last 5 or 10 minutes. They're being frustrated and thwarted by this West Ham rearguard action as Defoe tries to link up with Bale, can't take it in his stride as he runs in from that left touchline across the edge of the penalty area. And West Ham up towards Carlton Cole. It is still Tottenham Hotspur 0, West Ham United 0 here in the Premier League, and we've been playing for 65 minutes as Noble, under pressure from Bale, to Upson. Upson stabs it forward to Parker. That game against Denmark in Copenhagen, back in the England side after 4.5-year absence. He will hope to figure for the games against Wales and Ghana, the friendly. The following Tuesday, a week on Tuesday, as Upson's clearance under pressure from Modric goes out of play for a throw which Spurs take quickly. Still 0-0. But Noble, and then West Ham have given it away. Jakobsen straight towards Modric. Modric outside the penalty area to Van der Vaart. Van der Vaart tees up Sandro. Sandro shoots. Sandro's shot is off target, and it's a goal kick, as we can get the team news, I think, from Ewood Park.
Blackburn, Blackpool, key men return from suspension for both teams. Charlie Adam for Blackpool, Ryan Nelson for Blackburn, Santa Cruz and Emerton both come into the Blackburn side, while Cathcart, Taylor, Fletcher and Varney all return for Blackpool. Andy Reid and James Beattie both drop to the bench. I'm Alistair Bruce Ball.
Thank you, Ali. One of the several important games in the Premier League this afternoon. Our commentaries from Old Trafford, Manchester United against Bolton. Here, West Ham, if they pick up the point, if it stays like this, will go on to 32 points, and Birmingham temporarily would drop into the bottom three. Birmingham are at Wigan, who of course are propping everybody up. But you look at the bottom half of the table, and from West Ham all the way up to Newcastle, who are in 10th, those 9 clubs are separated by just 5 points. Which is a
couple of wins, isn't it? That's all it is. It's a couple of wins. You put a couple of wins together.
Here's Noble into the penalty area. Sandro did ever so well. Enough to put off Noble, enough to prevent the shot. And then a counter-attack. Defoe up towards Lennon. Free kick. There's a goal at Bramall Lane in the Yorkshire Derby in the Championship for Peter Slater.
Sheffield United have scored it. It was an own goal from Eric Lehadge, the Leeds United defender. Shot from Doyle as Sheffield United, deflected in, and Sheffield United, I think, deserve it. Kasper Schmeichel's kept Leeds in it in the first half with a string of fine saves, but 55 minutes played, Sheffield United 1, Leeds 0.
Here it's 0-0. We're midway through the second half. Spurs are contemplating a change as we make one. Darren Fletcher.
Thanks, Ian. Pavlyuchenko on very soon for Tottenham. Here's Bale on the left-hand side. Spins away from Jakobsen. And then Scott Parker arrives to help out. They've got the ball back, West Ham, on the right. Just a thought as well, as the way the game's being played at the moment. Much more joy for West Ham in the Tottenham half. Here they come again down the right with Gary O'Neill. Played back to his goalkeeper, Gomez, by Gallas. And then Gomez's clearance picked up by Noble. Modric in the end on the far side, though, will win Tottenham a throw-in. But a bit more confidence in West Ham's play going forward, Steve, in the last 10 minutes or so.
Let's be honest, it could hardly stay as one-sided as it was. I mean, there's absolutely no way in the world that you're going to get a game where you have a team that are going to dominate the other for 90 minutes like Tottenham have so far. So there's bound to be a period of play where West Ham were going to come more into it.
Just before we heard about that goal at Bramall Lane, there was the foul committed by Upson on Defoe. He got a yellow card, the West Ham captain, for that challenge. So 69 minutes gone. Spurs 0, West Ham 0.
I mean, have you got a bad throw?
Yeah.
Anyone would think you had your best ever Cheltenham.
Let's get the team news at this juncture from Old Trafford. Our commentary game at 3, John Murray.
Well, Antonio Valencia starts for Manchester United for the first time for 6 months. Johnny Evans is back in the team after an 8-match absence. They're the only 2 changes to the starting lineup from midweek. The injured O'Shea and suspended Scholes are the 2 to drop out. So it looks like Wes Brown will revert to right back. And I must mention as well, there's a return for Park among the substitutes. Bolton's only change is Sturridge in for Klasnic.
OK, that's the 3 o'clock commentary on 5 Live. The top of the table team against the side in the FA Cup semi-final. Manchester United against Bolton. Defoe for Spurs into the penalty area. 3 West Ham defenders surround him, and in the end the angled drive by Defoe is blocked by Wayne Bridge. He's been really efficient in this game today.
We keep looking back at his first game here, really an absolute nightmare, and all of a sudden, you look at this is how important it is to get your fitness and your sharpness back. He's been immaculate today, Wayne Bridge.
Here's Modric, and now Van der Vaart didn't control it. Not the best of passes by Modric.
A little bit of frustration now, Daz, around the ground.
I think so, yeah. You get the sense that Tottenham are trying to force it a little bit as well. They're not quite as fluid and as accurate with the passing as they were in the first half, and certainly early in the second as well. That opportunity for Jermaine Defoe in the second half, a glorious opportunity squandered. Luka on the right for Tottenham, edge of the penalty area, swung in by Modric, poor ball, cleared away on the half volley by Upson. And West Ham don't keep it for very long though. Asarikoto gives it away to Demba Ba. And now Bar's got room to run into down the right. His pass intercepted by Dawson. Finds its way back to Demba Ba. Now Carlton Cole just outside the penalty area, faced by Gallas. Picks out Noble in space. Noble tried to poke it goalwards and pokes it wide. If he strikes it left-footed, surely he scores.
I mean, that's a great opportunity. He's done brilliantly as well. Noble just to cut inside, puts it on his left foot, and then tries to drag it round with his right foot, with the outside of his right foot, and try and curl the ball into the far post. But he should have just done it with his left. Set perfectly for it. Great first touch. Takes the wrong option.
Here's an interesting change. Harry Redknapp is taking off Rafael van der Vaart and sending on Roman Pavlyuchenko. While Steve Claridge digests that, let's get the team news from Villa Park Huge West Midlands derby. Villa Wolves, Pat Murphy.
Villa will have a makeshift defence against Wolves. No Collins or Dunn injured. Clark suspended. Luke Young injured. They'll have Walker, Hurd making his Premier League first start, Cuellar and Baker. As for Wolves, the only change, O'Hara, he'll play just behind Doyle. He comes in for Ward.
Thanks, Pat. Interesting change that by Harry Redknapp, Steve.
Yeah, I can understand why. I mean, he was becoming less and less effective, Van der Vaart, and I just think they've just got to get back to basics, get it simple, get the ball in the box, and get some more support for Jermaine Defoe when the ball does go up to him, because he has started to look a little bit isolated.
71 minutes gone. It's 0-0. And Tottenham have got the ball on the left-hand side with Asa Ikoto. Here's Chorluka. And now Lennon, level with the edge of the West Ham box on the right, moves in from the touchline, rolls it back towards Chorluka. Low cross, headed goalwards by Pavlyuchenko, and the Russians headed straight at Rob Green. Let's get the team news from the Hawthorns. Potentially, Arsenal could go level with West Ham, with Manchester United at the top of the table today. They're at West Brom, and Mark Pugac has the team news.
One change, Darren, for the home side. Peter Odemwingie for Marc-Antoine Fortuné. Now for Arsenal, Aaron Ramsey starts. His first start since breaking his leg at Stoke. First half for Arsenal, of course. Jens Lehmann's on the bench. The Arsenal midfield, Danielson, Wilshere and Ramsey, Koscielny and Scalacci, the only fit senior centre-halves.
Thanks, Mark. 72 minutes played here in the sunshine in North London. Spurs 0, West Ham 0. West Ham have had a couple of good opportunities in the game. Carlton Cole in the first half, and a couple of promising moments in this second period too. Just get the feeling as well that the momentum has shifted a little bit in the match. West Ham have got a free kick midway inside the Tottenham half.
I remember watching the game, you know, when Chelsea played Pompey in the cup final.
Yeah.
And they hit the bar 5 times, could have been 10, and then all of a sudden, just around this sort of period, Pompey they missed a penalty, I think, Chelsea, and Pompey missed a penalty, and just the game started to just change a little bit, and that's the sort of similar pattern here.
Maybe that's the Avram Grant plan.
Dominant.
Free kick delivered into the penalty area by Hitzelsberger, headed down by Upson, and it'll be cleared from inside the box on the right by Lennon to Asa Ikoto, and then the very elegant Modric just side foots it forward to Gareth Bale, who can sprint over the halfway line, takes on Bridge. Bridge is quick. It's not very often you can push it past Wayne Bridge and do him for pace. Bridge got the ball back to his goalkeeper Green, who can clear.
Gave himself a yard as well, didn't he, Bridge? Didn't go and think, right, I'm going to instantly close him down. Just gave himself that important yard and was able just to hold Bale off.
Gary O'Neill on the right-hand side. Midway inside the Spurs half, back to Parker. Now to O'Neill. O'Neill just outside the penalty area. Wide it goes to Carlton Cole. Jakobsen went on the overlap. Cole didn't see him. And then the tackle was made by Sandro. And Spurs have got it back again with Bale. It's really stretched the game now. 74 minutes played. Still scoreless on 5 Live from the BBC. Manchester United, Bolton to come. And then Ireland, England in the rugby after that in the Six Nations. Pavlyuchenko to Bale. Just outside the D in a central position. Back to Luka Modric. And then wide to Bale on the right hand to Lennon on the right hand side. Lennon, low ball into the middle, headed away. Shot comes in then by Bale, which almost fell for Pavlyuchenko. In the end, the bounce and the pace took it behind, and it's a goal kick to West Ham.
You're right, there's a little bit of the wind come out of the sails, hasn't there?
I think
definitely,
so.
You know, the crowd have become a little bit more anxious. They're not as forgiving. I don't think they truly believe now that this game is certainly going to be won, and all of a sudden, as you say, for the first time in the game, a little bit in the balance.
Steve, it's like the boxing match where the big puncher throws everything at the other guy, and he takes them all, and gets the late knockout. Just wonder whether it's in the minds of the West Ham fans in the far corner as we look at it at White Hart Lane that they might just pull this off. They beat Spurs 1-0 at Upton Park earlier in the season when Freddie Piquionne scored the only goal. Is history going to repeat itself today, despite all of this Tottenham pressure and all of these Tottenham chances? Sandro, as Tottenham come forward again, to Pavlyuchenko. Pavlyuchenko shot, charged down by Da Costa, intercepted then by Gallas on the halfway line, but he's lost the ball to Hitzelsberger, who can find Bridge. Bridge running across the halfway line, gives it to O'Neill. Jakobsen outside him, checking back is Gareth Bale for Spurs. Plenty of claret and blue forward in the attack. That was a poor pass though by O'Neill, And Bale did really well. He ran a long way to win the ball back for Spurs. He gives it away though now to Bridge. Bit of nerve on both sides here, I think.
Yeah.
Both of these teams know how important 3 points would be in this match for them for different reasons. Cole to Barr. Barr tries to take on Gallas, who did just enough to allow Gomez to run off his line and pick it up. Tottenham are preparing another change. They're going to send on Alan Hutton.
I think what they want is they want more from Corluka as they work the ball wide, which he's always been the out for them. We just want somebody to give them a little bit more going forward. We've seen Hutton, particularly on occasions this season. He's got a couple of goals, but he's also good when he's attacked people as well. And there's certainly areas. This is certainly an area down the right hand side where Tottenham can exploit if Hutton can get hold of it and do what he's done before. That doesn't surprise me, this change.
No, Corluka for Alan Hutton is the change. And West Ham are going to make the change as well. Gallas just had the wind knocked out of his sails after Gomez ran off his line to pick the ball up. The West Ham change is going to be Carlton Cole replaced by Victor Abinna. That does surprise me, that, Steve.
I think it surprises Cole as well by the look on his face.
He is the man in form for West Ham, Carlton Cole. I think he was a bit reluctant to accept it was his number, actually, that was being held up on the far side.
He's done all right, actually. I mean, he's been a player that can get the ball up to. He's held it up reasonably well for them. He's been a thorn when Tottenham have had it in respect to keeping the ball. And I can understand why he's a little bit disappointed to be coming off.
We'll just keep around William Gallas as well, who's just gingerly walking around midway inside the Spurs half. Both changes have been made. Victor Abinna missed just about the whole of February with injury. Before that, he'd scored 5 goals in 3 matches and was really finding his form for West Ham.
He's another one, isn't he, who's more than capable on his day. As I say, I mean, it's
lots of goals in this West Ham
absolutely.
squad.
Lots of players here who can cause the opposition problems. It's very, very difficult to understand quite how they've managed to get themselves in this position.
0-0, 11 minutes to play. Tottenham coming forward through the centre with Modric into the penalty area. Now towards the left-hand side. He's got a couple of defenders around him. He's run into a bit of a cul-de-sac, really, Luka Modric, and has to settle for a throw-in, which he takes himself. Back to Asuikoto, lifted in towards Defoe. Volleyed away by Upson from the edge of the 6-yard box. One in the air then by Sandro, and then stabbed away by Scott Parker down the West Ham right, where it rolls out of play just inside the Tottenham half. Michael Dawson knocks over a microphone on the far side as he retrieves the ball. And Tottenham take the throw in through Asuikoto up the left touchline. Flicked on by Bale. Helped on then by Pavlyuchenko for Bale to chase. Parker gets back, slides off the pitch, and then just about face first, flies into the advertising hoarding away to our right. That's really hurt Scott Parker.
What's happened is, as he's gone to clear it, Bale has closed him down, and his challenge has pushed Parker into the hoardings, and he hasn't got time to react to make sure that he hits them with his hand or or a safe part of his body. He hits it with his knee and his shoulder, and he looks in a little bit of pain down there as he connects.
He's had a fantastic season for West Ham, hasn't he, Scott Parker? You wonder what their predicament would be if he'd not had the kind of campaign that he's had for them. Throw in taken by Bale, right into the 6-yard box, not cleared. Pavlyuchenko blocked by Da Costa, and then Spurs denied as Hitzelsberger can clear it away from the edge of the penalty area. Another chance for Tottenham, 0-0.
I don't know what Da Costa's doing there, trying to head the ball to Noble, who's in his own 6-yard area. Why he doesn't want to just clear the ball, I do not know. But as you say, another opportunity for Tottenham.
10 minutes to go, 0-0. Don't go anywhere anywhere other than 5 Live this afternoon. Huge afternoon of football. The commentary game, Manchester United against Bolton, but some really important matches at the bottom of the Barclays Premier League table. Villa play Wolves, Blackburn against Blackpool, West Brom have got Arsenal, Wigan against Birmingham. We're at all the big games where all the stories are. You'll hear them first on 5 Live from the BBC this afternoon. Will there be a goal here? Pavlyuchenko, he's away from Da Costa, left foot shot beaten away by Green. Maybe he could have carried it further. There was lots of venom in the drive from Pavlyuchenko.
Good play from Pavlyuchenko, knows he's one-on-one, gets his yard.
Crossed in again on the left-hand side by Asuikoto. This time Da Costa has to stretch to clear the ball away, and then Jakobsen can get it out for a throw-in on the left-hand side. They've just turned up the tempo again, Tottenham.
Yeah, gone again. I mean, the substitutions made a bit of a difference. Pavlyuchenko's given them somebody a target, an option when the ball goes forward.
Sandro, Pavlyuchenko hits it. Robert Green knew very little about it, but he still saves it. Couldn't hold it, Robert Green. And Jakobsen clears away for West Ham.
That can only be the sun. I mean, I don't see that taking a deflection. It was a straightforward save from Robert Green, yet he's made an awful lot of it. I can only think that he's got caught in the sun there.
9 minutes of normal time to play. 0-0. Victor Obinna on the left-hand side for West Ham United. First touch since replacing Carlton Cole. Down the line it goes to Bridge, then back to Obinna. The Nigerian on this left-hand side in the shadows. Back now to Noble. And then Noble forced back towards the halfway line. And Upson. Parker's okay. Back on the field and in possession. Out to Noble. And then Noble switches the play from the West Ham left to the right, to the far side as we look at it, with West Ham playing from right to left in the second half. Jakobsen out towards O'Neill, drives the cross into the box, flicked on by Demba Ba. Alan Hutton didn't defend it very well. Obinna won it back, but then slipped over inside the area, and the Scottish international Hutton can bring it away to Lennon, and then Lennon to Pavlyuchenko, forward to Defoe. Bale makes a run through the middle. Defoe can't supply the pass, and we see a really well-timed challenge by Upson to clear the ball away.
Let's make no mistake, he had to get the ball there, because if he hadn't, I'm not quite sure the connection on Defoe would have been too pleasant.
Modric to Lennon. Hutton's made a run up the right, gets the ball in the sunshine, just outside the penalty area, closed down by Obinna. Back to Lennon, to Hutton, and then infield it goes to Sandro. Spurs have got lots of bodies forward. Modric, midway inside the West Ham half, in the centre of the field, exchanges passes with Pavlyuchenko, then gives it back to the Russian, who moves the ball onto his left foot, just lost control of it for a moment. Defoe snaffles it back up again, back heel to Modric. All this being played right on the edge of the West Ham box. Modric then out to Bale on the left hand side. Jakobsen gets some help from O'Neill, still Bale towards the corner flag, rolled back then to Asuikoto. Asuikoto will cross into the danger area, doesn't pick out Defoe. Poor defensive work by Bridge. Lennon at the byline, drills it across the middle, steered behind for a corner by Upson.
It's just not happened for them. I mean, when they have got in great positions, ball's been played across the goal, and not once, I don't think, has it gone to a Tottenham player. You know, he's got to the byline there, he's got past Bridge, he's pulled it back, and yet again, it's West Ham who clear.
Corner to Tottenham. All the fans behind Green's goal bathed in sunshine. Corner delivered into the centre by Modric, flicked away by Wayne Bridge. Sandro chases towards the left-hand side and keeps the ball in play. Couple of step-overs with Hitzelsberger ahead of him. Still Sandro to Hutton. Left foot cross by the Scotsman, cleared away by Manuel da Costa, and then controlled by Noble at the byline, and he can volley the ball away towards the halfway line. But we're expecting a pretty strong finish by Tottenham in the game, because they know if they can win this match, they'll go back level on points with Chelsea, as both chase a place in the Champions League next season. Modric, just outside the penalty area, foul by Upson. Free kick Tottenham, about 20 yards from Green's goal. Steve Claridge.
He'll be disappointed there, Upson. He doesn't have to make that challenge. You did get the feeling that Modric was going into a cluster of West Ham players, and all of a sudden, this is an excellent opportunity for Gareth Bale. Right hand side of the D, about 4 yards outside of it, to clip this one up and down and into the West Ham goal.
We mentioned that West Ham have struggled to keep clean sheets. They got a clean sheet against Liverpool recently. That was the first clean sheet they'd kept since the 1st of January. At the moment, they're 5 minutes away from a valuable point and a clean sheet in the Premier League, here in a game that they've been dominated in. Bale lines up this free kick, and he can be deadly from this kind of situation. About 5 yards outside the penalty area, right of centre. Bale's left foot, plenty of width, brilliant save by Green, onto the bar and cleared away. Fantastic goalkeeping by Robert Green.
That is absolutely top class, world class save this. Just about full stretch, lifts it onto the bar, and then he earns his bit of luck, because the West Ham defenders follow up. They're the first ones to clear. I think it's Jakobsen. Good defending, great goalkeeping.
Has to be one of the saves of the season from the West Ham goalkeeper. Corner taken by Modric, headed up into the air by Upson, and Green sprints off his line and claims the ball on the edge of the 6-yard box. In the final shake-up, when they tally up the points, how big might that save turn out to be for West Ham? Because that from the moment it left the boot of Gareth Bale, looked like a goal.
It was absolutely incredible save. What he does is, he does brilliantly to get across, sets his wall up properly, yet Bale still lifts it over that. But he actually gets a touch and does enough to lift it. He doesn't save it straight, he lifts it onto the bar.
At the other end, here comes Parker running towards the Tottenham penalty area. Sandro makes the challenge, and then via a deflection of Scott Parker, it's gone out for a Tottenham throw-in. There's been another goal at Bramall Lane. Which way? Peter Slater.
Second goal for Sheffield United. Bjorn Helge Riise, only on for 2 minutes as a substitute, has scored it, and they thoroughly deserve this. Remember the first one, a Nick Montgomery shot deflected past his own goalkeeper by Eric Lehigh, who's on loan from Aston Villa. The second one, Riise the scorer. I don't think Leeds are going to win this. Sheffield United 2, Leeds United 0.
Thanks, Peter. Couple of minutes of normal time to play here, 0-0. And Harry Redknapp must be stood down there in the technical area wondering how his team can have so many chances and not score. Avram Grant at the other side must think we've been all over the place and we're going to get away with a point here.
Well, he's going to get away with it, isn't he? Because clearly this is a travesty, there's no doubt about that.
West Ham fans won't care, of course.
No,
will maintain this decent run they're on.
It does give you an understanding of why they are where they are, don't they? When when you're set up and organised the way they are today.
Disorganised is probably a better way of putting it.
I mean, defensively, you can see what Wally Downs has done defensively. They've played well, but as a team unit, when Tottenham have got the ball, they have been all over the place.
Throw in hurled into the West Ham box, headed away by Parker. Jakobsen lets it bounce, which is always dangerous. Bale won the aerial battle, but it's hooked away by Parker. Header one on the edge of the centre circle by Sandro, but West Ham have got the ball on the left with Hitzelsperger, and now Victor Obinna, about 10 yards short of the halfway line, pokes it back to his captain Upson, who finds the left back bridge right down below us, a long way down below us. We're that high here in the this stand at Tottenham, I think even the pigeons get vertigo up here. We're absolutely up in the gods, right at the top of the stand, looking right down on the action as West Ham get the game underway, but give the ball to Spurs. Pavlyuchenko into the penalty area to Defoe. Left foot shot over the bar. Should really have done better.
We've seen him score plenty of them. Ball just going away from him. Da Costa does well to do what he can, which is to put as much pressure on it. But we've seen Defoe, as he's running away from goal, turn and hit those left foot strikes across goal and back into the far corner. Unfortunately, the Tottenham just about sums their day up. He hits it high and wide.
Ian mentioned that 6 of Tottenham's last 9 matches in the Premier League are going to be played at home. This is the first time they've played a home game in the Premier League since the 5th of February. So that's why they've got that pile-up of home matches to finish the season. It's 0-0.
We're into the way they played.
No, absolutely not.
The lack of goals at home. Well, if it's lack of goals at home on this performance, it's because they haven't taken their chances, not because they're not creating them.
Assaricotto to Pavlyuchenko. Jermaine Defoe can win it for Tottenham. Brilliant tackle inside the box by Wayne Bridge. Fantastic tackle.
It was a great tackle, but he's just looked a little bit shy and off the pace, Defoe there. Once or twice there, I think he can get onto that quicker, and I think he can finish it quicker. As you say, just maybe a lack of games, lack of match practice. Maybe just shown a little bit today.
We will get the signal from the 4th official very soon as to how long we've got in terms of stoppage time. By my watch, the 90 minutes just about up, 0-0. In the meantime, let's get an update from Murrayfield, Scotland-Italy, Andy Gillies.
5 minutes gone, Scotland 3, Italy 0. Scotland rewarded for early pressure with a Chris Patterson penalty, so Scotland ahead by 3 points to 0.
Thanks, Andy. 0-0 here. Modric towards the halfway line, towards Defoe. 4 minutes of additional time. Are we going to find a goal? Throw in taken by Bale, long up the left touchline. Brought down by Pavlyuchenko. Infield to Bale, who took the throw in. I thought he was fouled by Noble. I thought he went through Bale to get the ball.
Yeah, he did.
Mike Dean was very, very near to it and says play on. Dawson wins the header on the halfway line. Modric floats it up towards Pavlyuchenko. Headed away by Jakobsen. One in the air by Sandro. Picked up then by Demba Ba for West Ham. And now it's on the far side, just inside the Tottenham half with Gary O'Neill. He gives it away to Dawson. And then Assaricotto wins the throw in off Gary O'Neill, almost in front of Avram Grant, who's urging on his players on the far side with a bit of help from Wally Downs as well. Modric for Tottenham, finds Lennon in space, central position, out towards Hutton on the right side. Hutton's low cross, cleared away by Upson. No real danger for West Ham from that particular Tottenham ball in. Modric to Pavlyuchenko. Pavlyuchenko to Defoe, inside the D, back to the Russian. Pavlyuchenko shoots, no power, and that's wide of the right-hand post.
There's no doubt. I mean, he has made a difference, Pavlyuchenko. He's given them a few more options. He's certainly been, progressing the way that he's played the game. But they will be kicking themselves after this, Tottenham.
And it's a real opportunity for Chelsea when they play Manchester City tomorrow. A game you'll hear on 5 Live to put some daylight between themselves and Tottenham at this stage of the season for that 4th place, that all-important 4th place finish for the Champions League.
You would have put pressure on both of those sides, wouldn't you, with them playing each other tomorrow. Unfortunately now, both those will realise that Tottenham haven't closed the gap as most would have imagined.
Long ball forward by Asarikoto.
Still, it's not done yet, is it? I'm talking like it's finished. It's not finished yet.
2 minutes of injury time to play. Spurs 0, West Ham 0. Pavlyuchenko to Sandro. Not the best of balls by Pavlyuchenko. Sandro able to keep possession. Now Hutton hugging the right touchline. Back to the halfway line and Gallas. Only Dawson of the Tottenham outfield players inside his own half. He's got the ball now. The Spurs crowd wants it played forward. Gallas on the halfway line. Lots ahead of him. Hits it long. The target, Jermaine Defoe. Not the kind of service he thrives on. Easy defensive header by Da Costa. Now here come West Ham over the halfway line with Noble. To Hitzelsperger. Hitzelsperger moves away from Sandro. Gives the ball to Noble. Options to the right in the shape of Gary O'Neill. And Asarikoto not too keen to get across there. O'Neill will now run at Asarikoto. And the Cameroon international wins it back, and the linesman on the far side, I think, spotted a foul by Gary O'Neill. Bit of a wasted opportunity there for West Ham.
Well, Gary O'Neill didn't know what to do. He's thinking about going in the corner. Unfortunately, the corner he's in is where the West Ham fans are, and they're urging him to go at Asarikoto. Should have just kept it in the corner and run the time down.
Less than a minute of injury time to play. 0-0. Time running out for Tottenham. West Ham so near to a vital point in their battle to stay in the Premier League. A game where they've been thoroughly dominated. Bale fouled by Hitzelsperger. Modric with the shot, always rising over the bar. And that's a goal kick to West Ham, and it might be the last chance for Tottenham.
It's not a great challenge by Hitzelsperger there. I think there's a bit of touch of cramp as well, but Hitzelsperger goes through the back of Bale. No, I mean, it's become... I don't know, they've snatched at a few chances. It's been more and more at arm's length as the game's gone on. West Ham have managed to keep Tottenham, and they've panicked in the end a little bit, but wow, they've had so many opportunities to put this game to bed. It's been quite staggering.
Gallas for Tottenham hammers it forward over the halfway line. Full-time whistle blown by Mike Dean. A game dominated by Spurs. So many opportunities, but West Ham's good run in the Premier League continues. They've kept a clean sheet, and they've now picked up 11 points from their last 5 league matches. 0-0 at White Hart Lane. The final thoughts of Steve Claridge.
Well, as I said before, a game where sometimes you've got to be there to understand exactly how the scoreline finishes up like it did. This does not give a reflection of this game. Game should have been dead and buried. West Ham got out of jail somewhat. I'm not sure this does anything more to convince me that they can stay up. The result's fine, the performance, lots and lots of areas where they can improve.
They might have nicked it. There were 1 or 2 opportunities in the game for West Ham as well. I've got to say, Mark, that's the best 0-0 draw I think I've ever seen.
I nipped downstairs to see that Rob Green free kick. That was absolutely sensational, wasn't it, Darren? He gets quite a lot of stick, and obviously nobody forgets last summer and what happened in South Africa, but that was a brilliant save.
Well, the more you think about it, Mark, it's amazing, really. He got the strength in his fingers with the spin and the pace on the ball to flick it onto the crossbar. As soon as it left Bale's foot, you thought goal. Robert Green, fantastic save. And in the final shake-up, this point they've got here today, and that save in particular, could be decisive for West Ham.
It could be decisive for both sides, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. West Brom fans rather disappointed, of course. They wanted West Ham to lose.